Something we've been seeing quite a bit.
Right, there we go.
Virtus Pro, who we'll be getting to later today. The Adam Warlock's been jumping in, and also in other regions, to the point where it was during week one of the most banned and picked characters.
I hope we are all ready.
He's seeing a massive rise in play, even though he himself cannot rise or fly. Stuck to
I hope.
unless they are.
Gonna have to sit through an ad for the first little bit on Twitch. Fortunately, I can't stop those. Well, I can technically, but that will mean that one, I have no control over it, and two, people have pre-roll ads on Twitch, and I don't want that.
It is probably almost as bad as Magneto not being able to fly, but it is what it is, and Adam Warlock is still incredibly strong in his own right. He might not be able to move, but he absolutely can win.
He might not be able to move. Fucking true.
Especially given the fact that a lot of these Adam Warlock players know the full way to get the min-max out of his kit, but you don't always want to be using your snaps to heal your team. If you look down right at the ground or you face a wall, you get the full burst heal on yourself instead, so you can utilize that to perma-full heal yourself if you get dived on solo by a Psylocke.
Well, actually, no, you don't get the... Unless they changed that. I haven't actually looked if they made any changes to his kit. But you get 150 health back. It does not bounce on you the whole time. You get, I think, 150 if I have my my numbers correct. Unless they change this kit. I haven't looked at the patch notes yet.
Themselves like Sparker's Adam Warlock stats alone make me want to hide underneath the bed.
Moxie, you got your numbers wrong.
In fact, when this composition was starting to pick up a lot of,
it does make him very annoying to kill though, especially if you know how to aim. Because if you're in a high stress situation, you're the only one on point, or it's just you and your tank. You never look at your tank, so that your healing does actually bounce to him, so that he gets the stuff. But if you are able to aim for headshots, you will get a second shaved off of the countdown. Because basically have a finger snap every 3 seconds.
And then you compare that to EMEA in the Americas, where we saw a lot of Iron Man in Season 0, then like you say, the Storm appearing in Season 1, and then as we move on, of course, Johnny Storm, that Human Torch, creeping in as the drafts and those new hero releases come on out. We're heading into the draft, and it looks like we're going to be seeing all business getting the first protect out here, as we're going to see the Magneto mirror ban.
Yep.
Magneto taken off of the table. Bubbles coming on through.
Hi, Buddy and Andy. How you doing?
Meet your M to be able to absorb entire ultimates, like a Galactic Legend from Star-Lord or parts of Supernova from that torch. Zero Tenacity already going to be breaking.
Good, awesome.
See, removing the Luna first.
The Luna got taken out.
That Tuzi is going to have access to.
Very predictable Emma save.
Torch to be able to go toe to toe with him. Potentially we see a Psylocke get
or save.
Zero Tenacity side, and then I wonder if they go for the Inviswoman last.
It's a good question. We did see Zero Tenacity play extremely aggressive with this torch, using the high ground of being into T'Challa last
Emma
time.
ban? No, Loki?
From the entranceways to
Loki, Emma, Loki, which one?
To snipe down and make it very hard to hit Smashness. But like you said, they have a Invisible Woman as an option for that to potentially protect flyers. Loki
ban. Okay.
Nice and simple, just in case there's a little bit of backline dive as well. Zero Tenacity, they have that Wolverine comp that could be at least protected slightly against from Loki.
Something to note is that Zero Tenacity have not saved a single Vanguard. So
I look when?
if all business really want to target the roll down, they could remove the Emma Frost from Zero Tenacity side, as we're going to see Zero Tenacity take out the Psylocke.
Yeah.
And yeah, there it is. All business remove the Emma,
no.
And having saved the Emma, if Zero Tenacity want any form of dive in that composition, that goes.
So Psylocke ban for all business and an Emma ban for Zero Tenacity.
Diamond form, Carbon Crush from the Emma, or even a
yes.
hook from the Bucky.
Maybe?
One-sided Luna.
Luna! Oh, Luna.
They could even, like you said, go for a little bit of a one-sided Psylocke in from their own side to try and.
I wonder if they're then gonna run Ultron. If they are going to run a flyer. Strange.
And that's a lot of those big barrier heroes getting removed.
Nope, nope. It's Adam. It's an Adam ban.
They take out the Adam, we were just talking about it, is exactly what Zero Tenacity ran.
Adam and Ultron are probably two of the better healers to have on your team, or better strategists to have on your team if you are running a flyer comp. One, because Adam doesn't necessarily have to look up in the sky to be able to heal whatever's flying above him. And because Ultron's basically just up there with them, so he has them in their peripheral, right? And at least if you have a good Ultron. Loki save and a torch ban for them. Okay.
Okay, Zero Tenacity, target ban the torch. Tuzi is removed out of 2 of his roles and is likely going to be forced onto either the Punisher or potentially something like that Star-Lord. As unfortunately for both of the sides, Cloak and Dagger is going to be in.
I haven't seen Knuten on Moon Knight yet. That will be interesting, but.
Tuzi has so far this season of Ignite shown Psylocke, Torch, Punisher,
Okay.
Hela, and for a very short period, Iron Man.
So
The Punisher, as we've seen this season, is the most reliable, safe option to start off with the
unsure yet.
swap off if need be. And of course, Slowpoke starting on the Storm. If they're not planning on running a Mantis, it's at least...
Winning team has 3 wins, right? Best of 5, so 3 wins.
Means the Punisher can have an extremely good time.
I do worry though, if Zero Tenacity do stick with the Invis over the Cloak and Dagger, one of the ways that a lot of the teams have been counter-playing the invisible boundary.
I keep forgetting that statue is there.
Use Eternal Bond to be able to invade into that space, and then Terror Cape comes through, which applies that 28% damage vulnerability for the next.
Alright, so we see Penny and Rocket on both teams. They're probably not gonna run out with Penny and Rocket, but it's there to give the teammates a little bit of extra health. For the most part, that means that people get 50 health, right? Because the Penny team up gets 50, Rocket still has only 25. So it's better to have Penny put down her extra Penny Mine thing, so that you can have the 50 overhealth for the additional fight. It does mean that Penny and Rocket won't have it, because you have to switch off if you're not going to go with the actual comp, but the rest of your teammates will have the extra health.
Potential for this Punisher is at the moment Zero Tenacity have to give respect. They're waiting for the dive to come on through. They turn
Ooh, unfortunate.
but at the same time,
Smart placement though.
That's absolutely huge. All business are down
For
the it's going to be up to Tuzi. Try and give them the space to stabilize with this Punisher turret, but he's getting pressured out by Smashness. He drops outside of it, and Zero Tenacity are still in full control at this point.
But no one's been able to actually get any percentage on the board. There comes the
I was talking. The Invis put her little thing in the doorway, so the moment that Smashness went through it, he would have been pulled down. He actually did get pulled down. We saw it happen. But what that does is, one, it pulls people towards the center, so it has a gravitational pull. But if you are flying, you get caught by it, regardless of if it's up top, on the side, or wherever. If you're flying, you're gonna get sucked down, so you're on the floor, so people can aim at you better. So if you're a flyer and you can see it very obviously in your view, and it's not somewhere where you have to go through it, like for example just hanging around in the air, go around it, because otherwise you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable place you don't actually want to be. Ooh.
Using that final judgment to zone everyone away, but it's gonna be all business with that who claim the point. Zero Tenacity tried to duel it, but it was not enough. Just an overwhelming rush by all business, but they burnt 2 big ultimates for it. Traded out though, we did see a Kraken impact and an invisible boundary, so it works out as a 2 for 2, which is huge news for all business.
Yeah, Loki almost has ult already, but that's obvious. But they have 4 ults on Zero Tenacity. They are going to have maybe 4 ults if Cap can get ult charged fast enough. It doesn't seem like he is, though. Oof. It's Nostville. You hate Ultron? Why? Is he annoying, or does he suck on your team?
Giving them a lot of bonus health. From above onto the backline with the fate of both worlds, and they clean on up. Zero Tenacity will recap there with an insane move out, but they are now down to just the Freedom Charge. That is all that is left in terms of their ultimates. Welsh Mania already using theirs for all business, but they still have Silent
Of 4 named cardinal directions, there are 2 places on Earth that would be 0 degree in northwest, south, or east. Earth is a 3-dimensional object. Yes, it's treated as a 2D on all maps. I wouldn't know. Also, hi, Boku Knight. How have you been? It's been a while.
Is going to have another ultimate in this fight. Psionic Seduction is looking for the picks. They're trying to take down.
Heal is very good at keeping the torch alive there.
Around the corner, those Zero Tenacity are able to stabilize Carbon Crush.
Been 2 or 3 days? Well, that's still 2 or 3 days. I think it's been longer than 2 or 3 days, though.
The picks that they need to keep this fight firmly in their control.
It's currently 83 to 60% in favor of Zero Tenacity, but all
Also, that's still a while. It falls under a while.
Ultimates, Tuzi, another final judgment is an incredible tool.
Smart, getting off point.
Supernova. Ayamoto nearly ready with the Supernova already up, invisible boundary to protect that torch. We saw an incredible use of that gun.
Ah, you were on an alt account. Yeah, that I wouldn't know if you are on. Oh, Rover Zero. Yeah, I wouldn't know that that is you, Boko. You didn't say. Oof. Final Judgment got taken out. Very, very doable for Torch, though. We all thought Torch was gonna be a bit of a dud this season because of the changes, but the changes are actually kind of minimal, and his ult is still fucking overpowered. You can get every single, he can out-damage every single healer ult in the roster. Oh no, Ducky! Oh no, Ducky! He didn't realize. Oof. Was only able to get rid of a Loki.
We're going to see Cap cleaned out, and all business are just running it down here to keep control and stop Zero Tenacity from reclaiming.
Not calling a castrated horse a dud was a huge missed opportunity.
The horn of that one. That was Carbon Crush canceling Ayamoto.
He sucks his healing and get horrible players. Well, now hold on. His healing's actually pretty good. It's just that usually they don't know how to use it well. He does more healing than Mantis.
Would have been able to find the fight win that they were looking to use to hold on. As it is,
like, yes, Mantis has burst healing, but her healing over time sucks ass. That and she has 4 leaves, and if she can't get headshots, she doesn't get them back immediately. On the other hand, Ultron does 10 more healing over time per second than Mantis does. Has area of effect healing. Does more healing to the person that has the drone than he does to the people that do not have it. So if he puts it on someone that is low health, like they are supposed to do, they will be able to heal people more often. If they use their ults well enough, they can actually make sure that their teammates do not CC. So they can't get grabbed by Emma when she's ulting, they can't grab out of ult when Emma flies at them, they can't get grabbed by Penny, they can't get pushed away, they can't get eaten by Jeff. In other words, Ultron is not a horrible player to have on your team, or a horrible character to have on your team. They're just people that don't understand it and thus are horrible players. There's a difference between the two. That and Ultron's damage output is horrendously overpowered. Well, actually, it's the other way around. Mr. Fantastic was around longer, but, like, semantics. Also, there's only so much you can do with stretch powers, right? There are gonna be overlaps. And everyone else on the ground are able to target focus one by one. All businesses players are down. Tuzi is going to have the final judgment, but crucially, Closer does not have the eternal bond. It's going to be a reliance on the god of mischief coming on through from Zenost in. Also, for anyone who's wondering why, I think it's Knuten? No, it's Smashness. Why Smashness keeps meleeing even though there's no one there? It's the animation cancel. Animation cancel so he can move faster.
get a serious amount of damage up, and especially if they're able to stagger them together to combo with that Punisher and with that Ultron.
Because attacking
That Terror Cape could really set them up as the first one is going to come on out. Noct does go for the clone, and here they come.
there you have a very good Ultron player. Knows to also shoot at his teammates.
Simultaneously here. No
Fortunately, is not able to get a whole lot of
big strategist ultimates to keep everyone topped up, chasing down onto Slowpoke to try and finish them off.
what's it?
Those shotgun
A whole lot out of the ult, mainly because there was another healer ult.
is just too much. Zero to
But it was able to give his teammates healing, so.
off the point, regroup and try to go back in, but no.
But yeah,
Returns and with the help
Ultron's primary fire, very good.
But trying to fight it still, though. Invis boundary gets invested. Ducky one's going to be...
He's built like Lanky Kong's DZ Bizarro.
Small businesses back line. Fight instantly swings back into their favor, and they did it while retaining full possession of the point.
This.
All the way through. A late stagger pick onto Slowpoke.
Yeah, the no damage fall off his E is
Fight territory.
devastating.
Business, yes, have the Eternal Bond and the Rage of Ultron, but it's going to be a portal play to avoid the poke so that they don't allow Zero to
Ooh, that is evil.
shots.
Culling turret through the portal so they can at least siege in the Loki firing squad. Also sending a couple shots down, but here they go in for the commit. Trying to find Newton on the flank, but Smashness is uncontested, using the portal for extra cover here as they've rushed off the point in some cases to try and zone away the members of Zero Tenacity. All business are giving everything they can. Lugia pushing on to try and keep everyone zoned away with that freedom charge to create any space they can. Smashness finds closer, removing at least some of the healing. Strange comes in for the melee and takes them out with a maelstrom. Rage of Ultron to try and hold, but
Also, if you're wondering why they weren't shooting at the Loki that was low health, that wasn't Loki, that was his clone.
with final judgment for Zero Tenacity, they're going to try and end this here.
Znosk tries to go for the copy, manages to find the fate of both wards from the opposing sides. Luna, both of the dance walls are sounding on off, but unfortunately, Tuesday's final judgment is still reigning supreme.
It's the random noises.
Come through with the later matches to catch Knuten as this just ends, and all business will be able to hold on.
I played Minecraft once,
Huge investment. That's
a very long time ago. Played it for a few streams, got bored eventually, never played it again.
One of their own, as well as having that invis
I was just minding my own business, just mining my way, right? Mining my way through a mountain. And all of a sudden there's a weird noise and I'm like, what the fuck's happening?
With that Eye of Agamotto for a potential turnaround. On the Stratus though, Rage of Ultron is all they have. 33% on close on 20 on Snow. Mania with the freedom charge, which will be activated to give them that bonus health and a sort of pseudo strategist ultimate here. Eye of Agamotto sent on in, but Force Physics pushes them back.
Oh, that's so unfortunate though, because Force Physics actually meant that it connects onto Oasis. That
Yeah.
being said, Ducky one's Eye of Agamotto with the Maelstrom follow-up is slightly more successful, and that is going to be Zero Tenacity just having to deal with these late-minute staggers from All Business's side. Point is cleared, and we go another round of Krakoa. We said that it is a potential 5-mapper between these two teams, and with how much...
Right, while they load in, I'm gonna bring this to the kitchen. 1 second.
Feels like we're gonna be headed down that path, Tetcher.
5 maps, 7 rounds per map in some of those convoys. We could be seeing some intense matchups between these teams as they try to find any space, try to find any way that they can claim a victory. Already 10 final hits for Tusi with 19k
There we are.
damage, but it's being dwarfed by Smashness and Knuten with 21k and 20.
Along with that sense of going into a cave, usually you'd expect Samus Countess to be on a rampage, but they don't exist in Peaceful. That feeling that something should be there but nothing, as if there's something that must be there. Ah, that's what that is.
The one up in the air gets way more space, vice versa too. However, Torch and Punish's damage output is slightly higher than a hero whose role is designated as a strategist, despite the numbers that they can indeed post on up. And the breakpoints and quickness that a Torch can take you down is much faster in comparison to the Ultron 2. Speaking about takedowns, Search Nasty are looking for a very fast one. Turret comes on through.
I didn't know about the placement of that.
Knuten all that much and dissatisfied with it. He decides to drop out.
I played some yesterday, had a horrible time. I decided to not. Ooh. Yeah, go. I have a.
Down by Lugia. chased, picked off with that fearless leap.
The PvP experience be like.
really wanted to win that first fight, and the fact that they invested that teleport recontest is going to make it pretty dicey to get Smashner's aerial up against all of the space and angles that All Business are going to be able to control. Both Tuzi and Slowpo, and even Zanos to a degree, need to make sure that you find out the angles that those are playing from so that you can avoid it. Smashner's is getting some support from the team, at least with the idle aura coming in through from the Luna, and there is good cover around it.
Yeah.
Tenacity decides, you know what?
Also, not just that, Smash is actually getting healed by the Luna, unlike when you're playing just regular comp.
In limbo, gets picked off for their troubles. As we see Slowpoke taken out as well, Zero Tenacity taking control of the point. All Business, they already got 40%.
Actually, yes, there was a Spider-Man yesterday.
And they've got both strategist ultimates, freedom charge upcoming.
Mostly just there to try and keep the point alive, but it was there.
Going to stand up to snuff underneath all of the damage that can potentially come through from All Business side, especially if the Nos goes for an aggressive copy. Fate of both worlds is going to be safeguarding the Punisher, but Smashness forces them to have to stick on the Q aura rather than the damage boost, and that means that no picks have come through. Zero Tenacity buy themselves the time to come back in with the
I can't actually remember. I don't think they did.
for All Business to have to deal with, as they don't have the luxury of being able to look up.
Trying to lock onto them with that Ultron, retreating into at least some of the healing with that invisible boundary. Rage of Ultron going in for that aerial duel with the psionic seduction to try and lock down the backliners. They can't focus on that torch yet until they take everyone else out, but finally they can turn it, using the flaming meteor to try and dodge out and get back onto the point for a turnaround, but they are extremely outnumbered. Yet another flip as All Business are taking back control with, yeah, you mentioned it, an aggressive God of Mischief.
Yeah, not a lot of Spider-Man players.
Power, and that forced out so many resources and so much scattering from Zero Tenacity that All Business were able to pick people off.
Zero Tenacity, though, they do have the combo that we saw previously, and even without both the Luna and the Invis' investment, it seems they're more than happy to just send Lugia charging on through, Canuton behind him when the Freedom Charge hits. And speaking about behind, Lugia is already all the way behind. We're going to try and leap on through. Pyro Prison has shut out a lot of...
I mean, yeah, the man literally just stood there.
From that Captain America. In fact, it's forced them off the point entirely.
Speaking of Lugia, I can't wait for the GameCube emulator on the for Nintendo Online. Oof. Is to have Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness.
And it's just getting ready to send a couple shots, like you say. They know there's only one person left with the stagger, chasing down Slowpo. We are at
Poor Slowpo.
compared to 69 for Zero Tenacity. All Business in the lead. Zero Tenacity hold control.
They've got Supernova in the next fight. They're also going to have the Eye of Agamotto.
Again, for anyone that doesn't know why they don't immediately kill someone, it's to make sure that the team staggers so they don't have everyone, right?
That turning factor, but it's going to be up to Tuesday with the final judgment to be the final that All Business needs to be able to take this fight through. Smashness is getting pressured, doesn't go for the full commitment. Out comes the Eye of Agamotto into the Supernova follow-up. That's already forced out that regeneration domain. Invis boundary has to be invested so that All Business can go on to that point in anticipation of the overtime. And Zero Tenacity give it away. They know that there's another fight afterwards, and that All Business burned a lot of their ultimates just to hold that space.
This does mean this is likely going to come down to one last fight, with All Business also approaching their own overtime here. And look what they were able to keep. They did burn that Range of Ultron, they burned that Invisible Boundary, but they still have Final Judgment. They still have God of Mischief, and they are very soon about to have their own Freedom Charge, which is giving a huge amount of extra bonus. Nice lockdown to try and trap Lugia, who's rushing on in to create some space. Portal comes from W, so their team will come in for the reinforce, not onto the point, as they don't want to get caught out by Toot.
No, he went into the back line. They've already been able to take down Tuzi, which
Yep.
is the Canuton.
Sounds about right.
Is entirely uncontested inside the Invis boundary. It might not
Oh.
but it stands up against nothing. All Business are wiped out in the blink of an eye. It's going to have to be a teleport play that comes on through from closer, but the body block is there. So too is the color
Yep.
through.
Nope.
Taken down immediately, and Zero Tenacity walk away with Krakoa under control.
What a close game, coming down to literal seconds.
Yeah, the moment you know that there is a Punisher turret, you know the tank's not going to be able to survive.
Been able to make something happen.
Especially when the whole team is also focusing on you.
To make something happen. But Asmodeus, showing just how powerful this human torch is, able to zone, able to just burst on through people, take jewels in the sky versus Ultron. This was their game in control, creating so much room for Knudsen down on the ground.
Yeah, Knudsen being able to pick up 2Z.
I mean, Punisher right now is the go-to meta.
Bag zero tenacity that point. Because if it comes down to a final judgment versus final judgment, Invisbound is not going to be enough. It's one of the lower end healing ultimates in the game, 165. In comparison,
For the most part, it is because if they ban Strange on the enemy team, they will most likely get a Strange ban on their own team, and that is not necessarily what you want, because Strange is one of those characters that you are able to use to get back in even though you're not a tank main, right? So if you do that, then, you know, you have a very high chance that that's going to happen. On the other hand, if you don't ban either Emma Frost or Magneto, you have the chance of either getting yelled at, or you have the chance of getting dunked on as a healer by Magneto, right? Because Mag's ult is devastating. Compared to that, Strange's ult is actually doable.
But you mentioned Knudsen finding the targeting when needed, wrapping around from behind and making sure that they got rid of them early to take that final fight.
Yeah, Ducky won with really smart portals too. Instead of portaling onto point or portaling directly onto the enemy team, portals behind them so that he can use the threat of Eye of Agamotto to force everyone from the side of all business to have to turn around and adjust. They know that the strategists can't actually peel for themselves because Eye of Agamotto with Maelstrom of Madness, now that it has no damage fall-off, is actually still going to be able to find the picks. So all of a sudden, those resources which should be going in to prioritizing keeping...
Whenever I watch people in this competition play Punisher, all it does is remind me that my aim is too stable.
They have no choice.
I have very stable aim for someone who occasionally plays Punisher. Occasionally. Very few times do I play Punisher, but when I do, my aim is too stable. I need to be more erratic in my aim.
Resources near him. It's really good timing. It's dive timing to be entirely.
But yeah, like I said, if you ban Strange, you incite a Strange ban for your own team as well, and you don't want that.
Into some beautiful play, but all business, they're still fighting for this matchup. Will they be able to bring it back and take us to a 1-1? Find out after this short break.
Doesn't mean Strange never gets banned, but it's very rare. God, I love that Magneto skin so much. It's so good. Also, I got my friend to buy the Scarlet Witch skin, the Kunlun one, because I got it, because I liked it. But then I was raving about it because it had noises, fun noises, harpy noises, you know, the traditional Chinese music kind of stuff. And apparently my friend wanted it too, because I kept raving about it, so he got it. I mean, that's mostly because that's the reason why they got like that, because they assimilated with an Ultron, right? There's still people that wonder if this is an actual Marvel Rifle song. This is Luna Snow's actual song. This is Luna Snow singing. I mean, it depends, right? Because Magneto isn't actually infected by Ultron. He has taken over Ultron and assimilated it into his own body of his own volition.
Both outside and here at the Marvel Rivals Ignite EMEA, things are definitely heating up. Zero Tenacity versus All Business. We've been building up this matchup. We've been saying this has the potential of going to a full series between these two teams. And after that scorching Krakoa, I'm pretty sure that unless something goes terribly, horribly wrong in the advanced pick and ban system, Tetcha, that's exactly where we're barreling towards.
We're going to keep seeing these teams evolve. We've already been seeing Zero Tenacity go for a little bit more of a targeted draft versus All Business, whereas All Business stayed a little bit more...
Also was watching Flats yesterday, and someone made a comment about being a female gamer in Marvel Rivals and that it's kind of hard, and he legitimately said, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, I don't know how we do it either. The moment we use voice chat, we get yelled at, or we get told GG's woman gamer.
Yeah, I mean, Rage of Ultron was definitely finding a lot of really good impact, especially because they would use it very...
Even though usually it's not even our fault that we lose. I've had many a case where if I opened my mouth in voice chat because I need to tell someone to do something very specific because otherwise we would lose, that they would already assume that we had lost, even though I would be the reason why we've gotten where we were, like very far into the map, or that we win first point or whatever, and they just immediately lose. It's like, well, okay, I guess I shouldn't have opened my mouth then. It's especially satisfying when I can actually get us the win, though, because then they shut up. However, if you lose, it's my fault. Even though I didn't do anything wrong, it would have been my fault.
Captain America, full sending it every single time with Lugia showing up in places that All Business really didn't want to be finding him. We just got to...
It is hard, being a female gamer, especially in a comp game. Not even in comp, really. Just in any kind of game that requires teamwork, where you can have a voice chat, it's horrible.
Some other regions are picking it, a couple of these other teams are picking up, and he just believes that that single target pressure is so good, combined with the fact that Freedom Charge is essentially a strategist ultimate in its own right. Every second you add everyone who is in that path gets movement speed and that bonus health, which is a...
I feel like it's slightly less in America because there's not that many cultures. But in Europe is horrible.
Almost the healer in their own right.
Yeah, and I mean, we even saw it from Zero Tenacity. Freedom Charge, Final Judgment, off we go. Those are the two things that we need, that they just went for such aggressive tempo shift plays. And All Business, they were relying so much on just the space, the time to be able to set up, coordinate how they wanted to take each fight. And Zero Tenacity just came on through and every single time wrench in the plans. No, you don't get to fight plan. No, you don't get to ult track. We're fighting right now. You've got to deal with us when you're not prepared to do so. And they took full advantage, given the fact that when we look at, you know, some of the heroes that were on the board, the fact that All Business started off with the Cloak and Dagger and the Loki, which is probably the strongest or one of the strongest backlines that you can have in a 2-2-2 format. And it was so detrimental, the Captain America, the Torch, the Punisher, that All Business bent the knee and swapped to the Luna.
Yeah, to just try and keep that one Punisher on their side up in these fights. They just had to focus the healing in to keep them prepared. But when you have a speed boosted from the Captain America Punisher while they're also being pocketed and also the sun is falling on you, it's hard to deal with even for a Lunar Snow. Fate of both worlds is, we've called it so many times, one of the best, if not maybe outside of maybe Jeff, the best ultimate in the game in the right circumstances. But if you are just being blown up that hard, we also saw Invisible Woman getting almost countered. But
God, I love that. The sun was beaming on you. Ah, I couldn't see. Ah, I got hit by Captain America because I couldn't see because the sun was in my eyes.
And playing around them to perfection.
Yeah, and I mean the fact as well that they took advantage of one of the weaknesses of having, like, the fact that you have the Luna. The damage boost off of the Luna is only in the ultimate, as opposed to the Cloak and Dagger, who has it far more frequently, it being tied to a cooldown of 12 seconds, which is maddeningly short in comparison to the damage that it can do. And they really started making that Fate of Both Worlds and Eye of Agamotto into Maelstrom of Madness combination hurt to the point that, you know...
Are we gonna see a flying Canadian? Are we gonna see the amazing flying Canadian again?
Yggdrasil path, because, I mean, the last time these two teams met, Old Business lost Burnin, took us to Yggdrasil path, and then Zero Tenacity came out with an absolutely off-of-the-wall composition.
As predicted, a Magneto ban, as always. We have a torch save. Oh god, Squirrel Girl. Oh god, no, not Squirrel. Not Squirrel! Loki ban.
Where we will see potentially Human Torch getting sniped out the side by a Squirrel Girl.
EMEA save.
Will get protected nice and early for All Business. Make sure that they do have...
So All Business is banning for Zero Tenacity, and Zero Tenacity is banning for All Business. So what you see up top is going to be effective for the team down below, and what's going to be down below is going to be effective for the team up top, except for the saves. See, we have a Luna ban, EMEA ban, and a Psylocke ban.
To take your entire team down. Tuzi with a Luna pocket on that Psylocke is an absolute terror to deal with, and even though Zero Tenacity took out the Luna, they've learned from the mistakes of some of these other teams that had the hubris of thinking that Tuzi Psylocke was stopped, was depleted in terms of damage that it could do if the Luna was the only thing to go. So both the Luna and the Psylocke are out.
Okay, Human Torch save for both teams.
Incredible Captain America to help set up for them. It is going to be a solid idea to take away that Psylocke when you need. We also, however, be seeing that mirror on the Human Torch, so we still have solid options for Tuzi as well.
Okay, but no Invisible Woman for All Business.
Pocket support healing from All Business.
Do Zero Tenacity save it so that they get one-sided?
Oh, no, Luna save.
Okay, they saved the Luna, which is good for them because...
So, All Business then gonna ban... Oh, they're banning Strange. Okay, I was thinking they might have banned Invis for the team up, but...
no teleport recontests coming on through. No Eye of
Zero Tenacity is not gonna be able to use Strange to get back on point.
This is actually, I think, a very good reaction coming on out from All Business. We did actually see them flirt with the concept
Two
of
throws?
Strange ban in the last map, which I think them not going through with is a decision that they...
Oh, no more.
I would agree. We did see them struggle a little bit here, and as such, they're having to adjust their composition. They once again have no of the more standard shields. They're looking at the Groot, as it's one of the few characters left who can at least set up some kind of interceding barrier between you and your opponents in this case. However, it is one that also blocks your allies from being able to see stuff as well. The Hulk, however, is going to be a solid backup option. Indestructible Guard is going to give your team a lot of protection. It opens
For anyone who has played Overwatch and does not know what Marvel Rivals is about, but has decided to stream today, Groot is Mei in tank form. I hope we're all clear on that. The only thing he can do is encapsulate himself and heal. But that's what the big fall is for. Penny team up purely for the extra health. We're gonna not see an Acro Penny play, I don't think. Nope.
So there's definitely going to be a lot of very fun set plays that Zero Tenacity have to be able to set that one up. As
interesting that he puts the Loki clones there, but I don't think they are expecting...
20 seconds, set your watches. Ice Arrow is going to be coming blasting on through, and that's going to hit directly into the backline through shields and through cover. So All Business are going to have to play around that and make sure that their backline is very well hit.
Yeah, that team up is horrendous. I need it out of the game. I don't like it. It's a menace. It makes me turn into J. Jonah Jameson. I'm turning into the man that's angry at Spider-Man.
instead of the Mantis who've been
So that Namora is probably going to be the worst,
some solid control
the worst person, the worst enemy for Slowpo, who's currently playing Storm.
people play in defensive posture, has fantastic flanking potential.
Knuten
Oof.
able to take down closer, and then we get another ice arrow onto the disengage, and they take down Tuzi. They're all frozen. Fish in a barrel is the phrase that comes to mind, as Welshmania has no choice but to swap over to the Strain just to be able to rejoin the teams. Nos with the God of Mischief is going to be able to copy the Cloak and Dagger, gets the ultimate, and finally Slowpoke will put a shutdown to
Hi,
the
Patadon.
minions of the Hawkeye. But the damage has been done. All Business have lost a lot of space, and now they're going to have to delay these last picks for as
Not
long as
much.
they possibly can.
How about you?
Slowpoke using that center Loki statue for a little bit of
How is your dog doing?
hurricane.
Ooh, no! Oh no! That was 100% personal. Didn't even try. Ugh. Didn't even try to go for the group. No, went directly for the Hawkeye in the back. Did some heavy work yesterday? Ooh.
The grass is greener on the other side, even with the Loki regen domain coming on through.
Personal work or work?
From the one-shot potential of the Horn of Proteus is landing. Unfortunately, Anissa, it gets put on cooldown. So Zero Tenacity still have the numbers and the group will
Now you're all lactic acid if painful.
has that ultimate up and running. If all this
Work?
try and put pressure
Ah.
around this corner, that goes
That's less
down
ooh.
the space. Another ice arrow fully CC's out of Business's backline, and it's up to Tuzi on the Punisher to try and shut this down immediately. Momentum needs to be depleted right here, right now.
Oh,
And final
Jesus.
Gonna start doing that, but not going to
Ooh, stagehand stuff. That actually sounds fun.
enough of a strangling prison attempted to come through. Is able to peel for his backline too.
They are tracking down beautifully. The Eternal Bond bought a little bit of time, but they are finding everyone. The second they split off, the damage output is so much burst that it takes a couple seconds for that healing tick to come on in. And
I've always-
they realize that they need.
Sorry, I saw a Hulk slide.
Move off of the Punisher.
But that actually sounds fun. Like that kind of work,
Target down that Hawkeye.
just like setting stuff like that up and everything.
Double flyer into both a full
Oh.
and Hawkeye is not what you want. As walking through those small hallways into a strangling prison is
Yeah.
absolutely not the position that you desire to be in if you're all business.
Gotcha.
If you have flyers who need space, and that is not where you're going to be able to find it. They can potentially slow things down. They're going to teleport back to the C spawn rather than find themselves getting staggered off into the B. But that is going to give Zero Tenacity all of the time in the world to be able to set up the crossfire. Keep your eye on Smashnaz because he's already fully behind them.
Let's look at the ultimate economy here. We have Slowpoke currently on 86%. Toot is fully charged up. Everyone else below 50. Zero Tenacity. They have Fate of both worlds. Horde of Proteus and the Invisible Boundary. They are just approaching that Hunter's site here. They have so many defensive tools that it's going to be very hard for all business to pull the trigger. They'll burn the range of Ultron to try and at least clear out some of this flanking from the Namor and those monsters.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that you actually have to burn Rage of Ultron.
The Horn of Proteus, all business
Ew.
don't find the picks coming up against them until now. Hunters site in the middle of an invis boundary. If you try and run, you get slowed. If you're trying flying, you get exiled. Luvia is able to keep Slowpoke grounded, and they finish off the Ultron. All business are potentially going to be finding themselves stuck in their respawn rooms right now, as Knuten on this Hawkeye is entirely on.
Remember, this is a pro comp. This is a pro competition. These are pro teams. These are people that actually know how to play this game very, 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 very well.
Close's ultimate gets cancelled early.
Silent introduction to try and pull Newton off the position, but it cannot reach. Trying to get onto that torch to at least get something. Struggling prison, and Tommy just is doing so much work on this Groot. Pushing on in, trying to deal with the Emma. They've got everything up here. Newton was finally taken down. Horde of Proteus to finish off Nost. And with that being taken down, all business are very staggered, having to burn the flaming media for that bonus help to try and make their way in, but it's one at a time. Captain America, Welsh Mania, for every extra second counts.
Yeah, no, they're gonna have more than 2 minutes for if there's going to be overtime. They have more than 2 minutes on the clock. Oh no.
20 seconds. Zero tenacity, full
Throw everything down at the end of the night.
took us to this
You must have been so exhausted by the end of that. Good job, dude.
Would be able to counterplay it, but I don't think anyone is expecting the depth of tricks that Zero Tenacity have at their disposal, because that was an absolute crazy play. Knuten, I think, only went down to the Storm fully targeted spawn camp Omega Hurricane.
They were
Yep.
taken down in the early set by that, and then once on that final push by like 3 people burning resources just to take them down. It is so targeted. If you look at the actual fight,
Also, I ended up... I couldn't get a rhyme home, so I walked an hour and a half home. Was it at least dry? And did you have at least a little bit of warmth, or was it ice cold out?
I mean, in comparison to Snost and Closer, I feel for them. I really do. You're a strategist. You have so many players who try and just stack their bodies in front of you. Ice Arrow cares not a whit for that. The further away you are, the more damage that you take. It goes through shields. It goes through...
Mostly dry.
It turns Marvel Rivals into an absolute horror game for a player in a backline where every...
Scattered rain. Well, that's doable, but like an hour and a half, Jesus. You probably got home, went straight to bed, right?
They have decided to swap back over to the Punisher. Try and melt through these group walls, play front to back. But the longer they take on this, of course, means that Knuten is just picking away from the back line about as far back as you can
Okay,
go.
well, at least it wasn't cold.
Rosie is finding the flankers and is at least putting a little bit of counter
No?
pressure into them. But there's no
Ah, jeez.
up here to deal with Knuten's
Oh, no more.
down into the pickup, and that's just what we've been seeing all game.
Yeah,
Poor
that's the thing
Slowpo.
about Hawkeye. Man can shoot, man can jump, and he absolutely can hit his shots if he's Knuten. Every single time he lands one of these ice arrows, he's going to be able to confirm it into one pick.
Just-
And all business are going to have to plan around it. Slowpoke gets ice arrowed out of spawn and gets taken down.
Well, that's a nice noise.
Food is trying to create an opening here, but a fate of both worlds will come out from Zero Tenacity to hold the line with Slowpoke already down, making their way back in, but they're still outnumbered.
Also, I made a video on how to play EMEA a while back, and apparently there was a glitch in the game that wouldn't let you get or keep your damage charge if you hit his walls. They fixed it, but I said that the group walls didn't count for some reason. But like, I think I commented on that on the video, but like if you're going to watch that video, just know the group walls count towards keeping your charge. Now. I thought it was a glitch, so I went through multiple games of me playing EMEA to see if... That's evil. That is evil. That Groot up top is evil. Yeah, no, that's a horrible glitch.
This is Marvel Rivals, not that other game, as they just built for a ambush there, struggling with the but all business.
Yeah, they were... Ducky was building a Fortnite hut.
Immediately to block off reinforcements to try and guarantee this point A, and they will be able to do so. It's going to be Zero Tenacity setting up for a further...
Yeah, I don't think they have worked that glitch out yet, Patajon.
Waste Welsh Mania's portal.
And Zero Tenacity get a better angle now too. Because you're coming into a fight with one long open line of sight into another long open line of sight around the corner. You are terrified of Knuten's Hawkeye right now. And Zero Tenacity know this. They're keeping all just stuffed into this one space with the crossfire. The meme will spam continuously so that Knuten gets all of the space regen domain.
Report deaths.
To look for the one shot as it's up to 2Z to clear the Hawkeye with the torch spam.
Pushing on forward, you saw the Gamma Burst coming in. Supernova from Tuzi to try and create some kind of opening to try and weaken these members as they are pushing on into a fate of both worlds, though. The healing output is good, but they will find it. Oasis is taken down. Mania is picked up on the other side of Smashness, finishes off Tuzi. They've got the flank set up so beautifully every time, and the distraction continues to work. We have another.
I love the Ducky is playing Fortnite again.
Making some stairs.
This is Strangling Prison. They're gonna wait for everyone to walk out of main. They're gonna Strangling Prison into Horn of Proteus. Everyone's gonna be stuck in the center. They're all gonna take it.
Oh! Ho, ho.
1, 2, 3, say goodbye.
Thank you, Jeff.
Tries to save the fight with an eternal.
I hope you're having an awesome Saturday
Can't look up for the trees.
and working towards an awesome weekend.
Pile on the pressure. They got 3, continuing to try and get anyone else on the retreat to prevent them stepping up with 2 minutes.
Took a good nap? Oh, okay.
They still have a visible boundary. They still have Hunter's sight. They are in control. All business. They need to make something happen.
And I have teammates like this that actually know that they need to like use the walls and everything to their advantage. I would like teammates like that. Energy drink and fries. Gotcha.
Regeneration domain is ambassador for business to try and hold the space, but Zero Tenacity, they sense the blood in the water. They're going to continue to push to make sure that all business are deprived of any space that they can use to run those corners in those small rooms.
So they got the special spices for the fries.
Zanost has God of Mischief, but it's not the win condition that it normally is because Knuten is about 5'6" in terms of shutting down both the actual Eternal Bomb and the copied format as a huge ice arrow comes through, and the Foral Business can even get the ship off the docks. Slowpoke gets taken down. Final Judgment denied.
Knuten going for the entire strategy of you can't ult if you're stuck in your spawn for the entire game. Just finding these pickups over and over and over. Getting punished right now by that human torch, but the strategists are completely uncontested due to the amount of pressure that's being put on.
Ooh.
Here comes that final judgment for the commit to try and make something happen with that eternal bond for the setup. And Knuten is being run down this time, gets the knockback, being pulled in, but still finds Tuzi. They're literally being targeted by 3 people, and they still snipe the backline.
They get the Horn of Proteus. They've still got the fate of both worlds. All business have an Eye of Agamotto.
Ooh, beer battered.
Have a Knuten and a Strangling Prison. And Lugi with the Monster Hulk as well as making sure that the payload doesn't move a single inch. We're down to one final fight. And all business are down to having to buy.
Yeah, unless they can actually get on point, which they don't have a strange available. Oh wait, no, they do. They are the ones that have a strange. It's Zero Tenacity that doesn't have it.
Teleport coming through. He doesn't manage to find it. The body block is good. Someone else gets exiled, and Welshmania manages to find the portal, but they don't get through in time.
Nope.
What an incredible round from Zero Tenacity. Literally everything optimized. They didn't get, like you said, that Gamma lockdown, but they were still able to control that map from start to finish. All business got one fight where they were.
You're asking someone whose native language is not Dutch or English. It's Dutch. English is my native language. Words I can brain at the moment. English isn't my native language, so. Hold on, let me check. Is it F-R-Y-E-R?
Just be going right back to Lunabads.
Yeah, 28 and 5. If you asked me, you know what.
Oh, it's F-R-Y-E-R, not F-R-I-E-R. I can't English.
History, because this just changed EMEA meta permanently. Hawkeye has shown how strong this team up actually can be, and Knuten was terrifying. We see now why Slowpo invested the Omega Hurricane, and you know what? Well-placed investment. That's the trade you make every single day of the week, because every other day, well, all business were closed for business when Knuten was in control.
Trying to take the most of that.
What is your native language?
Try and snipe the backline.
Like I said, I can't English, but my native language is Dutch. It's not English. So sometimes I make mistakes on how to write words. So you're asking the wrong person on if spelling is correct. One good thing my country did when I was a kid is give me Cartoon Network and American English. English? Ah.
Distracting from the Punisher on the ground. It's just reversed this time with Knuten being the
Well, then why are you asking me on spelling?
When you head into B, right? There it is. Slowpoke goes down. Closer goes down.
God, that is so mean.
Tree falls in a forest with a Hornet Proteus following it. 3 people definitely hear it and feel it because they all got sent back to that respawn point. As all business were just never
You know Spanish well enough. I know a tiny little bit of Spanish because I studied it in middle school.
But even before they got to see the Hawkeye,
Ich Dutch. I can understand German, speak it a little bit because it's very similar to Dutch. I can say a few sentences in French. I know Japanese. Actually got a degree in that. I should probably have it rechecked. Now you're good.
And unfortunately, your backline got traded in the meantime.
You mentioned the tree.
I'm currently learning Korean.
Being heard, but they sure weren't telling anyone because they
I like learning languages, if that wasn't obvious.
But we'll be telling everyone about this.
I have a degree in business, but I like learning languages.
To recover, or will Zero Tenacity be able to close this series out? We'll be right back.
Well, actually, I have a degree in fashion design and I have a degree in business. I went two very separate directions. I just like Asian cultures. They're very interesting to me. Besides Kim? I love the meme where where someone is asked which Korean to name 5 Korean football players, and they just go Kim, because there's at least 5 Kims on the Korean football team, right? I don't know a whole lot of Korean though, but I'm getting the hang of reading Hangul. Now I just gotta learn words. And then get back into studying Japanese because I'm actually forgetting how to read it. Not hiragana or katakana or anything, just the kanji. There's a lot of moisture in the air, so my hair. Name every word? No. Official Marvel Rivals theme song gets cut short within 10 seconds. Let's fucking go.
Zero tenacity, but what felt like a million KOs.
I feel like Z10's going to win this round as well.
All business attempt to ban out Ducky, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Oh, we let the globally ranked Groot player play Groot. I love as well the fact that Zero Tenacity just immediately full lent into it. They were like, oh, we get Groot? Okay, let's go Nemo. We get Nemo, we get Luna, we get Hawkeye, we get Groot. They get Strangling Prison combined with Horn of Proteus. They've got a Hulk as well in the mix to make sure that you just have the permanent mobility to deny anyone from.
Yeah, that combination is nasty.
Space that the Hawkeye is looking for, and the second that you deny that space, the Hawkeye just. It's a shooting gallery. But let's be honest, every single time we went to Knuten's POV, he's just got 3 people in front of him. There's hardly any cover. If they find themselves going just around corners to avoid looking into the Hawkeye, that just allows the 20-second ice arrow cooldown to come back.
They had so much domination, and we talk about the damage output they were putting, just how much they were able to snipe people, like you said, but the defenses deserve highlighting. With those strategists positioning perfectly, like you mentioned, guard in the actual game, Guardian Barrier on the Hawkeye, keeping them.
Look at all the Mr. Fantastics at the bottom.
And forth between the fights, not just diving in, not just single-mindedly rushing in like
It's
just leaping back for those indestructible guards onto the Namor, onto
that better?
that Hawkeye, who were very split from each other.
Hi, it's Arrow. How are you doing?
The other could help.
Zero Tenacity gonna be saving the torch. It's really up to all business in terms of how they want to react to this. As Zero Tenacity, I think of all of the teams in EMEA, they're probably one of the best at just being absolutely uncounterable.
That better?
When it comes to the advanced pick and pass, which is the amount of depth of hero pools that they have, not just of hero pools that they have individually, but compositions that they can play together as a team.
How are you doing, Arrow?
Luna is going to get banned out on the side of Zero Tenacity. All business have not yet banned the Luna. There it's going to go, surely.
That better?
Zero Tenacity target out Tuesday.
We're back to the standard. Luna was allowed out of the bad jail for a couple days and has immediately gone back in at the hands of Zero Tenacity to at least try and put some of the brakes on.
I turned it down quite significantly because it was loud, extremely loud the last time I checked VOD.
America going to be picked up by all business as their protect for at least a little bit of backline.
So loud, in fact, that I couldn't actually hear what I was saying.
Bonus health from the ultimate.
Yeah, I would imagine seeing the Captain America Zero Tenacity are going to start saving the Emma Frost on their last, as they have not been banned out of it. And you know that dive is going to be coming on from the side of all business if Watchmen is able to get into the back line. What better way to potentially...
Is it going to be the other blonde woman?
And crush, but it looks like they might actually prioritize the invis, which can still be used both to peel the Captain America with the Force Physics to knock him back, but also for that Guardian Shield and the synergy so that the Torch has a little bit more sustainability.
And the Cloak and Dagger ban.
As all business are going to be taking out a strategist that we're very accustomed to seeing this week pop up in that ban slot. Cloak and Dagger is gone.
It's been doing so much work, removing that extra burst. And Zero Tenacity, they're looking like they're going to run at least part of this back, even though they have all of the tools for their usual setup with the Punisher and the Human Torch. All business having their torch banned out. Zero Tenacity protect it, but they were actually thinking about for a moment going for that Namor Hulk, but it looks like they are reverting to this, the exact draft they used against all business in the first time they met, with that Adam Warlock composition with the Mantis and whatever strategist they have also just hanging out, in this case the Invisible Woman, to make sure that that torch gets all the value.
Yeah, there was some debate there going on through as they try to figure out how they wanted to deal with the part of the dive comp that all business are going to send into that backline whenever
you're good with the balance.
Good. Gamma Squid with the Hulk name.
In that case, if I ever have audio problems, I'm just gonna go ask you.
As is the triple res, the Guardian's composition with the Atom, because you have Soul Bond. Where's
my cat?
Essentially an entire defensive ultimate. Plus
right
you have a duelist in the form
right
of a strategist who's going to be able to put more pressure on the Captain America before they can fully dive on through. And
currently covering her face with her paw.
Going for that play. Triple strategist, Mantis for the damage.
Also, hi, Pretty.
To smash Nez, which means that torch should be able to keep up the pressure onto Tuzi, as all business on the defense do at least have the luxury of the high ground currently to establish that Punisher and really fortify that position before Zero Tenacity try to lay siege to the site.
They've once again brought out the Ultron, look for single targets to try and just pick up people.
You can see her.
They're getting some good damage on.
You can see that she's in there.
With triple strategist here.
She's just completely conked out.
is on the flank, like we called, trying to cause distractions, trying to cause delays, flaming media quite aggressively here, and we're seeing Zero Tenacity able to split all businesses' attention quite effectively. This doorway getting sieged with the flames, with the damage boost. Asmodeus has control of this. That's the lockdown onto the
Isn't
cap,
she just?
chasing them all the way off the point. That's going to be point number one, almost certainly.
Be my
picked up by
adorable
Zero
baby.
Tenacity. We're just seeing people trickle in one at a time from all business.
We're also seeing Knuten right in the front lines. He's not playing to counter the Captain America. He's playing to be a duelist in his own right. Both the Mantis and the Invis as well as
I mean, I say it every single time. Adam Warlock is basically a duelist with self-sustain.
And the fact as well that Adam's heal manages to bounce from player to player means that Zero Tenacity can keep themselves moving, can
That she
continue
is.
pressuring out both of all businesses' frontline core without leaving themselves vulnerable, susceptible to that dive.
They
in the
ran
backside
all
of
the way
rules
to
of
the
play.
next spot.
It's gonna be a very
Jesus.
aggressive Eternal Bond coming on out, but it's going to be mirrored actually by the Soul Bond from Zero Tenacity as they try to disengage it, but it's not to be. Ducky One has fallen, and now all business have got themselves a little bit of space, but not when
If you can aim.
Knuten is hitting shots like that.
Well, you know,
aim
aim comes after, right? Like, you learn to aim based on experience, right? Also, Adam requires being able to switch between projectile and hit scan. Because if you can't switch between projectile and hit scan on a dime, Adam is actually extremely difficult to play.
Coming on through, Zero Tenacity very much prepared as the Eye of Agamotto comes on through from Olivia. The Strange was not banned out this time around, and that Eye of Agamotto combined with the focus factor
Because his primary fire is hit scan, so his basic attack it's hit scan. So if you point at the person when you shoot, you hit them, right? But if you're charging up his secondary or his right click or his left trigger, depending on what you're using, it's projectile, so you have to make sure that you like aim correctly, otherwise it's not gonna hit anything because there's travel time.
And they're trying to turn onto Westmania once again. Carbon Crush. They do dash away using that Liberty Rush to make sure that they don't get picked up with that crystal kick into the lockdown, so that they can get targeted. And this is allowing another ultimate.
However, like I said, aim usually comes second, although you need to have, you know, the basics of being able to aim. So unless you're only used to playing
is just buying every second they can for the team to give them time to remake their way in.
so unless you are only know unless you are only able to use characters like Cloak and Dagger or Scarlet Witch, you should be good.
He can do it all day as long as his respawn is close, but unfortunately Toot gets taken down before
Cloak and Frank?
Psionic Seduction can find value, and Zero Tenacity
I didn't know the Punisher had a combi team with Cloak. Would make healing a little bit difficult, wouldn't it?
They just keep moving forward. Knuten gets the double.
Leading shots than hit scan. I mean, hey, you know, whatever works.
That's easier. And just finding hits over and over again. They just are locked on with these headshots.
So I'm guessing you don't necessarily play Luna Snow then.
They're about to have 6 ultimates in this fight too. He's on the off angle as well. If they try and pressure him out, the frontline coach is going to walk on the outnumbered fight. And it's going to be Supernova to split the team for Eternal Bond to not find the virus. All business try and pour out of the choke into the open space. Hello will be able to take 1, 2, having swapped over to the hit scan to try and keep.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But Eye of Agamotto is going to be able to stop all business from finding that tidal win of a fight stop.
So that would make Adam's primary fire, Hela, Star-Lord, Punisher, Luna Snow, extremely difficult to play with.
They make their way in, they committed to that push. They're going to try and push on in for more pickups. Slowpoke will be the first to full smash. There's finally went down after hiding around the corner.
Probably not.
They still have the invisible boundary.
But we shall see.
The goddess of death, they got to focus that down. Lugia locked in here, still able to tank through a lot of that damage. Kraken Impact might be the only saving grace.
Not gonna lie, games this season have been horrendous and they hurt my soul.
Not
that I have one, but the sentiment's there.
They're running out of time. They've got to wait for any tool. Here comes the Eternal Bond.
Alright, Widow. Widow as well.
We're
I keep forgetting she's hit scan.
And the soul rejuvenation from Oasis is keeping them top. Newton returns.
You're pretty bad at it.
No more resets. Magamoto says your time is up. And Zero Tenacity are looking for the triple cap.
They should be able to get it. They just need to get the cap out of the way. Washmania is going to fall. And Zero Tenacity. Triple cap with
2 minutes left. This is looking like Yggdrasil again.
To be able to attack into. Because they have all of the usages of a defensive ultimate right from the rip. All business are going to have to take this attack.
I mean, she's not like Widowmaker that if she exists, you do not, right?
The soul bond, the cocoon revives coming on through from Knuten and Oasis.
I remember having sniper battles with enemy Widowmakers. Usually I'd win. It was so fun.
Zero Tenacity hovering.
We'd both be in the exact same place, but on the opposite sides of the map and just aiming at each other.
I don't know how much of that's going to make it out of spawn. They were potentially looking at even more revives, but they are actually still on this thought. They might actually try this. We've only really seen this from the very few teams in actual Ignite.
Even funnier is if I'd have a sniper battle with an enemy Widow when I was playing Hanzo. I'd see them on the opposite side and be like,
yeah, Twisted Minds also played Kaya on before a couple of times, notably on Symbiotic Surface, sometimes over here on Hall of Dejalia. Lugia, though, is essentially going to be able to just go and brawl. Is what this 4 is going to be able to do. Go and brawl, because they've read that all business are going to be trying to put Tuzi over to this Hella on this hit scan.
After a few beers.
Keep a track of either Smashnes or Knuten if he's on the Adam Warlock.
I don't like alcohol.
Hella is going to potentially get
I don't like the taste of it. It makes my face scrunch up.
By the 4 coming on through, because they don't have the resources to care for.
Which is weird considering I like coffee, because that, you know, bitter as well.
Alongside that pyro prison and all business, already we can see the lack of space of this team.
Oh, well, we're not gonna be done with the with this tournament in an hour.
We're of course seeing the new Thor right now, which leans a little bit more heavy on that Awakening rune, but this is before the Thor getting the ability to cancel that Awakening rune, which allows them to try and get out of a Storm Surge. So they're forced to back away a little bit more standardly. Here is the Eternal Bonds already coming out early as all business are pushing it extremely aggressively. They've got a Rocket Revive, which brings back Winnie, but they do not have this carbon.
We shall see, pretty.
At this point anyway, all business are taking this new composition from Zero Tenacity, and they are trying to outplay it. And the final judgment comes back in for the last turnaround. Regeneration domain for at least a little extra protection, for a little extra time. The Sephirim barrier from Doctor Strange is buying every extra second as the portal comes out from Zero Tenacity. They keep the reinforcement going, dragging out this fight.
Huge pick as well comes through from Tuzi. He commits onto the rocket before the BRB station can bring back Knuten on that Punisher. All business had a game plan when they sent everyone up on that left side. They all stacked together, which meant that closest primary
Dirty Bean Water is the best.
Stagger is getting the AoE, the 8-meter heal onto every single person stacked up. Eternal Bond fills incredibly quickly. As Zero Tenacity, there, we get to see it. Adam Warlock comes back into the mix. Oasis over towards the Mantas. They're going for the Rescon position so that Tuzi can get checked out by a strategist.
They might not be being rash, but they're certainly adjusting to try and smash as they push back in with that supernova to pull
extra dirt.
That is a wonderful block.
I've been making iced coffees. Because it's been so hot lately, I don't necessarily want to drink hot drinks, even though it's better for you. Drink hot because it cools you off. Because if your internal temperature goes up, you actually cool down. It's weird, but it's true.
Yeah,
but I will die if I drink anything hot.
Eternal Bond, really good focus fire from Zero Tenacity. At least for Closer though, they will have the CC immunity to make sure that they dodge away from the Psionic Seduction, which Ducky 1 is setting up incredibly aggressively. This Pyro Prison is being used to just slowly chip down all business and also stall out their approach, giving Ducky 1 a much better position because they've been so worried about the Pyro Prison. No one's cleared the ammo.
Alright.
Ducky 1 is still behind them. And
thanks for coming in for a bit though, Prithvi.
Psionic Seduction, and all this
bye bye.
unable to turn the shield in time to save the Hella.
going into administration, getting locked down, but they're still going to try and contest this. Losing
when it's 31 degrees out, yeah.
Contesting this. They got Newton. They got Lugia. Znost is taken down by Asmodeus, who is currently uncontested in the sky because of all the distraction that the ground forces are doing. But all business, they have to make their way back to Whippy, who's holding the cart. While invisible, they're still there. Finally getting caught, locked down with that extra soul siphon to keep them out of position.
I love that.
We will see Zero Tenacity forced to reset with a slightly staggered invisible woman.
When he was just on point invisible. I've done that actually at one point, but the enemy team was in overtime and everyone forgot about the card.
Do you have the comic revival? They're already starting to make a play for possession of this corner. So
I don't know what that is.
Position to cut off the disengagement if all business try to retreat. One attack per ultimate.
Is that like Licor 43?
Utilizing the terrain of the map to be able to block the bionic hook attempts coming through. And there's Smashnez. He's already been able to send them directly running to the team, but that sends them right into two. With the Eye of Agamotto, Maelstrom will be able to find the picks that it's looking for. However, Knuten has the cocoon to self-revive. And with Ducky taking closer out of the fight and Kraken Impact dealt with at the same time, Zero Tenacity are still holding strong.
A lovely setup by all business there. 2-2 trying to make their way in, but it's just the
Also, we look at Smashnez and we see his smart players. We do not leave Loki clones sit around. Unless it's your own.
Double cocoons, with Strange being so hard to take down their own, Invisible Woman being able to double jump away, and of course Ducky having that diamond form. It's so hard to finish anyone off. I have Agamotto.
It's just around freezing temp. Oh, you mean 31 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, 31 degrees Celsius.
The Eye of Agamotto. Zero Tenacity more than happy to trade an invisible boundary for it because now they can take the fight out in the open.
Ooh, nasty. Nasty.
Swept into the mix and it just sets it up. Ducky 1 puts them into a position. Knuten brings them
nasty little ult. Nasty little ult right there. Very well placed ammo ult.
Entirely knocked apart by Zero Tenacity's composition.
1 minute to go. They're seriously running low on time. They do, of course.
Also, I got Dune yesterday. I started playing it. Worms are terrifying.
They are the first to fall. Newton just sniped Tuzi again from across the map. There's the counter pickup, and this time there is no cocoon. If all business are going to go, they have to go now and just hope that Tuzi can make their way in with that Asmo.
It's 87.1 degrees Fahrenheit.
Means they need to make sure that Smashnez isn't just acting freely. Here comes the clone from Znost to set up with.
So basically 88 degrees.
Yeah, but Zero Tenacity on. They're disengaging the force physics from Winnie. Manages to push the Eye of Agamotto back, and in the meantime, Lugia is going to get found out. Has no choice but to go onto the payload, but that's exactly what Zero Tenacity were wanting. Supernova cuts off the disengagement. Eternal Bond.
It is very toasty.
Try and heal through everything.
It was a roasty toasty.
Pocket, but unfortunately, well, those pockets are a little bit deeper. Knuten comes on through with the Karmic Revival. Every tool at all business's disposal has long since been exhausted, and the res composition is.
Oh! Oh!
It's an overtime fight.
Gross.
Can't set a portal up for the team to recontest. We thought it would go 5 maps. It looks like it's going 3 total. As Zero Tenacity win out on Julia and win out the rematch against all business once more.
What a setup by Zero Tenacity. They are making their way back towards that grand final.
Yes, dude, that ammo ult though, I feel like that was the point where they actually won the game. The moment they got, basically all of Old Business got in that ult.
This team is creating distractions and then allowing Smashnez to just move so freely.
I live in the Netherlands.
Have a look at the damage output.
Humidity doesn't go down. It's just there.
Free.
And then it gets hot.
And yet 37,000 sees
hey, Hugo Donut.
A solid 16k, aka an entire Slowpoke more than Tuzi. Both of them put together did not.
I feel like I've seen you. Was in Amsterdam yesterday? Ooh, how was Amsterdam? Was it hot in Amsterdam? I don't live anywhere close near that, so. So how are you doing, Thomas?
Ducky 1 on that Emma, having a little bit more damage.
No, humidity here doesn't ever go down either.
As well, but I mean,
when it's cold, it's freezing because, you know, the air is just wet. You know, freezing temps becomes freezing your face off.
It's safe to
and when it's hot, you can't breathe because humidity.
Wait, okay, we're all regrouped. Let's
Awesome.
move it quickly.
Yeah, I like Amsterdam. I just do not ever want to live there.
Sonic seduction into Adam just peeking all of us, and there's nothing we can do about it. Like, it really looked like they had such a good read on the way that Zero Tenacity wanted to play with the brawl composition as they walked
moved away from humidity. Good.
A, right, where they get the Eternal Bond, Close is able to build it in record speed. They all just use it to get onto the point. Tuzi on the Hella gets to move up to the space.
If you're asking anyone that doesn't live in Amsterdam, you're probably gonna hear a lot of people say like, yeah, I don't want to live in Amsterdam. If you've lived in Amsterdam all your life, you're probably not gonna say that necessarily, depending on how you feel about the city. Otherwise, yeah, Amsterdam's not a place you necessarily want to live.
Oh, we're still not grouped up because Knuten is a sniper on this Adam Warlock, picking people from across the map, finding the pickups before they can even move out of the group, keeping control and
live in Denver now,
so that this Emma can move around a lot more freely because there's less people to spot them.
Yeah, man was an absolute menace. I need to see Sparker versus Knuten Adam Warlock off that.
Yeah, kinda.
At sundown.
You actually missed the rain by about a week or two.
Already thinking about it, but no, Zero Tenacity.
Now there's no rain. We have two settings, right? Either it's going to be grossly hot and always raining, or it's going to be grossly hot and way too humid for anyone to actually breathe outside. This is the whole of the country. There is no in between in summer.
X, Y, and Z, so that we can practice against it. Because obviously you're not going to scrim the team that you're going to be.
So either we're not going to go outside because it's raining and it's hot, or we're not going to go outside because it's humid and it's hot.
Differently.
The Netherlands.
They prepared, like you just saw Puff coming out with the storm. They prepared for the squirrel.
And then fall starts,
they prepared for the squirrel girl.
and it never leaves.
It's not going to be on the ground, so the squirrel girl's going to have more problems. But no. Zero Tenacity just continue showing comp after comp after comp.
They really do. We can
You're going to change your profile to Elmo. It's gonna be Tickle Me Elmo.
For starters,
from South Park.
Congratulations, yet another win with yet another comp.
Yeah. Finally we won and didn't lose like last time.
So how long have you guys been sitting on the Lunar Hawkeye? How long's that?
Oh wait, that's Stop Touching Me Elmo, isn't it?
I mean, we just do our thing, honestly. Like, our coach says what we should go, and we went it, and it works out perfectly, I think.
Like fall in Michigan.
Is just the best Hawkeye in the game.
Yeah, he's
thank you.
Like,
have a nice weekend.
Other way of saying it. That man is 100% the real life Hawkeye.
We did, however, see
moves away from Indiana.
Though you tried something in the start of round 2 in that third map that didn't maybe go as you all expected. Would you like to talk us through what the plan was then?
Yeah,
I can't look at the name Indiana without thinking of Erie, Indiana.
Like Lugia goes, he's like the best store I know. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know what we were thinking. It didn't work out at all. It was kind of shit.
It leaves me rather annoying.
You know, our coach told us to go it, and in the end, like, if he tells me that I should
it's
jump
Elmo.
off the bridge, I'm jumping off. Like, he's my goat. I listen to him.
Indiana
so
Jones.
Do you think Triple Res, or
yeah,
do
I
you
never
think
really
Triple
watched the
Res
movies,
is still
so
just as strong as it was in the previous match, or do you feel it's actually getting out-tempered by some other compositions?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say because, like, I feel like it's the opposite. So I feel like Triple Comp is probably the best composition in the game, but it's like if you get truly perfect with it, it should be the best. Like, I just think I don't know what to say. I just think there's one weakness, which I don't think I can say.
Oh, you're talking about Thatcher?
Don't
or about this dude?
Yeah. We do not want the coach coming after us.
No. But yeah, I do think it's a really strong comp.
So you've mentioned your coach a couple times now. Who is that, and how long have they been with the team, and how have they impacted how you guys draft and play?
Yeah, he actually does a lot, like, to be honest. He's been with us for around 3 months. He was with us even before I even joined this team. So, like, usually he's the one that keeps us in
Indiana Jones is Jack Black
chaotic.
confirmed.
Like, when we lost yesterday, we were kind of going crazy, like, should we go Hulk Namor, what should we ban? Should we ban the same shit? But he's the one that reminded us that the meta does change. Like, everything does change throughout the tournament. There will be new compositions that come out, because you do want to counter the Punisher comp. Because the Punisher's comp is just, I mean, it's hell to go against, honestly. It's kind of OP.
So Well, we got to see you on the Mantis, and I know that Mantis is one of your strongest, if not your strongest heroes. Getting to see as well so many of those sleeps coming out onto the Captain Americas. Do you have any advice that you want to give to Mantis players on how to be able to play that hero into dive situations?
Yeah, you need to damage boost more, I think, and kind of play your ults. I mean, it's really weird, honestly. Like, you just have to be careful of the EMEA. Don't get grabbed. That's kind of the big thing. I got grabbed a lot, especially within scrims. I would ult and I would just walk straight ahead, like I did in season 0, and I would get grabbed in one shot. And my team, they sit there quietly, but I know they're judging me, for example. So that's kind of the big thing. Don't get grabbed.
All right, and the final question is, you're moving on once again to those finals of this group. Do you have any message for your opponents, for your team, and for the audience who are watching you?
I don't know. I really just want to win. Like, Tanuki was talking a lot of shit in DMs. Like, he think we had a player with like 15 FPS. His PC broke down and everything. Like, everything was just going to shit. And I feel like we were judged a little bit too much on our performance yesterday. But I still think we have a good shot.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Oasis. Give our best to the rest of the team. Congratulations on the win. We'll let you get back to the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
A series that we expected to be close was extremely in some cases, and then we just saw Zero Tenacity find yet another gear.
We were not expecting all business to get rolled that hard by Zero Tenacity.
Another
Can you
match
see it again?
After this, Insomnia GG.
Sorry, I just saw Elmo looking at me.
Lower bracket, qualified for the playoffs, and are now beginning to create a recovery. And speaking of recovery, you should all be checking your inventory right now, because if you've been watching us over the last couple days, you should be building up towards these Twitch drops. We have that spray for the Will of Galacta. We have the nameplate, a classic magic emote, and a new costume where you can play in style. And you get that just by linking your account on Twitch and just.
So some people apparently are not happy that the Twitch drops are inciting streamers to actually play the game because they think it's ruining the game. The whole reason the Twitch drops exist is so that people will play their game more, so that they can have people have the drops, right?
When the distance, I really thought you were casting it. I'm sure you believe so too.
And
when we went to Symbiotic Surface,
like,
for sure we were getting locked
here's the thing,
into
right?
map number 3.
If you are someone who has an online game, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big studio, it could be a small studio. If you have an online game that has these kinds of cosmetics and stuff, why not go for drops, right?
But first, we have a break so those players can get set.
I wish YouTube had drops, not gonna lie.
Insomnia versus Virtus Pro.
There are things in the game. Hi, Ultron. I love that MVG screen.
This is my unnatural selection. Extermination.
I wish I have more Ultron players on my team, that if they do go for Ultron, that they actually shoot their teammates and move their thingy around, because they're not. You're wondering why I'm saying that? A lot of people seem to forget that if they put their drone on people that actually need the healing and not just have it fly around either the tank or the flyers the whole time, that you actually get your ult faster because you're constantly healing. I've had games where I have my ult within the first 30 seconds because I kept moving it around people that actually needed it. It's amazing. Alright, while we have 5 minutes, I am going to go grab me a coffee real quick. You guys also get yourself some refreshments, maybe some food, maybe a snack, whatever. I will let you guys watch my cat, who is currently over there. She is awake. She might move, I don't know. And maybe, you know, watch the stuff in the back. Make sure that they don't move. And I will be right back.
on those memories, and yes, across all time I see you turning the tides. And do you see now our time, our turn, we can still fight like the wind and fire, and wonder no more that now is the only time your heart is mine. Light has fallen, darkness grows, and yes, we fight for our destiny and faith. New days smiling for the past and future. Break those chains, lead the way, fight with me. And when you wake up, open your eyes, raising up your fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rift splinters again, we are rebels till the end. Rise up, open your mind, hold on to your powers, no one can stop us. We are rivals again until the end of time. Show me that you are still the only one that matters for me. I'll be waiting for you. Wait up, open your hands, holding on to your heart. Look inside you. Can you feel it? The sparks in you. Add it up, unleash it. Wake up, open your eyes, raising up your fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rift splinters yet again, we are rivals till the end. And rise up, open your mind, hold on to your powers, no one can stop us. We are rivals till the end of time. 한껏 높이 날아올라 내 누워진 밤하늘을 가로질러 Oh yeah, oh yeah. 필요할 때 내가 널 지켜줄게 간절히 바라면 이루어지는 마법인 거야 운명의 소리 들려 여기서 저기서 날 찾으면 달빛이 날 비춰와 시작해야 let's go 아무도 흘러는 우주 따뜻한 눈으로 감싸나 순간 신비롭게 녹아내릴 거야 좀 더 기다려 I'll be there 쓰러지지만 끝까지 일어나야 해 어딜 가든지 극복해 힘은 너에게 있는 걸 소리 높여 노래를 불러 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해
I mean, I gotta let you guys know that you're free to grab a drink right now.
때까지 아름다운 꿈을 밝혀봐 우리에게 달렸어
I'm not unreasonable sometimes. Giant iced coffee.
No time for sleep, only time for games. We are here to decide one more seed for today. We have another best of 5, and it is Insomnia GG versus Virtus Pro. The Legends find themselves in the lower bracket, and now they're competing for that slightly higher seed and that finals in their group.
Yes, they got knocked to the lower bracket by Rad a little bit earlier in week number 1 and came back immediately with a vengeance. We were thinking, okay, is this the season that Virtus Pro don't look as unstoppable as they were? Were Rad finally the immovable object that they met? No, they absolutely demolished with a 2-0 performance against Yonkanda. And going into this matchup, I feel like, again, we're definitely going to be seeing their domination, a map type which before has been a sticking point to criticism of this team, given that it is the map type that they've dropped the most amount of maps on, has improved significantly since they started picking up the res composition with the cloak and dagger in it.
Virtus Pro, though, they have shown that they can stumble. They are not that immortal team that we've seen up to now. They've technically still not lost a tournament ever, but there is a team that has thrown off so many teams going through this stage in the groups, and it is Insomnia GG. They have pulled out some of the wildest stuff, some of the best cap with Asmo, who will not be joining in for this game, as we have Sentinel.
Oh, hey, it's Demon.
Who put on some of the wildest stuff along with
Remember seeing Demon flying through the sky, grabbing all the flyers? That was fun.
Games, they decided, what if we just made a Canadian missile and launched it to try and turn around their series versus Rad, and they nearly took it.
Yeah, take me down to the bowl game. Take me down to Symbiotic Surface was the game that Rad were finding themselves having to play up against us. This was absolutely insane. Sentinel, there was a little bit of concern, you know, coming in with a substitute. Is that synergy going to be there? Absolutely. Symbiotic Surface, Demon, like you said,
so funny seeing that happen every single time.
On that Wolverine. So many
Why not? I kept getting grabbed out of the sky.
They put on such a great performance, trying to hold on defenses and trying to rush in. I spoke to Sentinel a little bit before this, and they described this composition of just throwing Demon at the sky and letting them deal with it. Running in with the Gamma fastball, a composition that we
just throw
really
Demon
have
in
not
the
seen
sky.
that much of
Deal with
outside
it.
of Season 0.
You do it.
A return, and this is just me counting at the bottom here. Just what I could see on the broadcast: 24 Wolverine snatches, resulting in 31 KOs. Their team picking up a lot of those hits after they land them. They found so many. We're literally going to see just a few of them. Just a few of the times that Demon was launched through the air to find people over and over again. If you find a flyer using the jump pad from the rocket, you are able to take them down. If you can get onto a strategist, you can take them down. This is the positioning.
I love that they slowed it down.
Yeah,
Look at how he grabbed the Naga and then left him there.
And the Magneto, 2 players and heroes.
Poor Naga, though. He got grabbed out of the sky so many
Virtus
times.
Pro are a team that has struck fear into the hearts of many and also inspired many into coming into the scene. So often when we talk to players, we say, who inspires you the most? Which person do you look up to in your role? A lot of the time, in fact, for the most part, it is a player on Virtus Pro's roster who is the answer. And they've gone back to the drawing board. They were motivated by their defeat against Rad Esports, and they improved. They've started picking up new compositions. We've got to see them really utilizing the Cloak and Dagger to devastating degree, as though that matchup against Peps was closer, I think, than some imagined it to be. Getting the one-sided Cloak and Dagger in the draft ban was a masterful stroke of manipulation.
They have taken control so fast. They used to go under Team Cats in MRC Season 0, and then very shortly afterwards were picked up by Virtus Pro and have never really let go of that title since. They have lost a series last week. That's when it happened. We found it. We found the series. And now they're looking at the potential of losing their first tournament, but they're already recovering. They're already building back up. That healing factor is active, and we are getting ready to head into our game number 1. Can Insomnia GG pull off the second defeat of
That sure had some
Pro,
trouble saying
or will the
Insomnia.
Kings claim their throne and head on to those group finals?
Well, Insomnia definitely are not going to go quietly into the night. Their overtime fights are the stuff of absolute legends. But what is going to really impact how these two teams are able to fight is the advanced pick and ban systems coming on through. Virtus Pro, as we talked about, really prioritize the Cloak and Dagger being removed from the side of Peps. Do they try and remove the Wolverine from the sides of Insomnia?
Taking away anything from Insomnia is a risk, because Demon does still have options like Hela, Star-Lord, Punisher, and the Human Torch, which has been so devastating throughout these games. So far, these teams are potentially giving up Magneto, but it's not prioritized. They let Magneto go in exchange for the Loki. That is wild. If you looked at some of the other team drafts, where the second that the Master of Magnetism appears, they are scooped up.
Do Virtus Pro see money signs in their eyes right now? Is it a Magneto ban? It absolutely. It's being hovered. It's not locked. There's debate. It's not. It's a Luna ban coming on out from the side of Virtus Pro, as Insomnia still do not have the ability of saving a hero until a little bit later. Virtus Pro will be able to access the Magneto ban after they've saved Magneto for themselves.
This isn't the first time Insomnia have done this. They have not banned Mag previously in some of their earlier series, so maybe thinking that they have a bit of a rumble on it, and including potentially that Wolverine to try and catch people. We also have not
Probably
Loki
ban.
out here. They have played 8 heroes so far: Punisher, Adam, Storm, Hawkeye without Luna Snow, Winter Soldier, Ultron, Namor, and Hela, and have played incredibly well on all of them. They are very similar.
Yeah,
to,
Hawkeye is not
cannot be
a bad character even without the team up, right? Hawkeye is actually extremely strong if you can hit your shots, or specifically your headshots. He is extremely, because he can get rid of literally anyone, right?
The Human Torch is taken out of rotation. Virtus Pro take out the Cloak and Dagger for the side of Insomnia, likely going to be leading into a save of their own, so that they get the one-sided Terror Cape advantage. And that's going to mean that their break points, their time to get these picks, is significantly shorter in comparison to what Insomnia have to slog through instead.
If you look at Virtus Pro's last few drafts, though, they have leaned heavily into this Star-Lord and that Adam Warlock composition. Insomnia have the possibility right now to ban that Adam and try and remove that flexibility. What Virtus Pro have been leaning on very heavily.
Adam ban,
exactly that, forcing Virtus Pro out of the little comfort zone they've set up for themselves in these
and
last few
Invis
series.
save.
Oh, Insomnia trying to force Virtus Pro into Psylocke. Virtus Pro, by the way, still managing to secure Luna and Psylocke through this mix. This is why Insomnia likely also prioritize having that Loki, and they go for the save of Invis Woman so that you can use your Invis passive to dodge away from the auto lock of the Dance of the Butterflies coming on through.
Rip Adam Sandler. Why?
Something that has been talked about since season 0, where players said that it was the best,
because they got banned,
not just in the EMEA region, but in the entirety of the world. So to let this one go is definitely going to lead to a very interesting match, as it's going to be Sparker versus the entirety of Insomnia's back line. Can they shut down this dive? Especially because it's not just the Psylocke that made it through, it's the Luna and the Captain America too. He's got all of the tools at his disposal.
It's given them a lot of flexibility. So far, VP have shown the least amount of characters in Ignite, but we obviously have months of experience showing stuff, like you said, that Psylocke. The first time it has appeared in Ignite for Virtus Pro. Will it be enough to try and break the backliners? Of course, they bring out that Captain America to capitalize with it. We also see Relaxing Knights forced off the Invincible Woman for one of the first times. They have been playing it so consistently because that Loki did slip through the ban phase for them.
Yeah, and Insomnia are not going to have the Magneto either, so they've got to go over to the Strange and the Hulk, which means that Demon
I wasn't expecting them to stay on Penny.
Wolverine, as both of these teams are going to be coming out of their spawns. The min-maxing comes on through. Jeff for the speed bubbles to get everybody out. Dark teleportation for Virtus Pro as well to give them that little bit of extra speed boost from coming on through. As Sparker on the Psylocke and Fire on the Star-Lord get ready to launch themselves into the backline.
Wolverine sailing on path, looking for an early pickup. Virtus Pro on point. They have Iron Bulwark. They have incredible mobility. Nevix on the Venom for the second time in 2 days. But Fi will be the first to fall without Adam. They do not return. The Star-Lord swaps immediately onto a Hela.
Nevix actually goes for the Venom to be able to jump in, tether multiple players on up. The Sparker to get the most amount of damage off. Demon gets frozen by Saipe, but does not go down thanks to the Wolverine passive, and Insomnia still holding on. However, this fight has been going on a very long time, which means ultimates are about to be built up for the side of Virtus Pro. Saipe is spiraling towards that first fade of
accident to cancel the team up.
Noxus trying to find a poke pick. Insomnia are starting to entrench themselves on this point as they have so much poke. We can see Demon hurtling around. Can he find the pick he's looking for? No.
Capitalism, big money, America.
themselves not on the point, but inside the small room, and it's a space that Demon just cannot commit into.
We already mentioned, we see Saint Tabo. They try to target up into the skybox to look to see if anyone is up there.
Oh yeah, so here's the thing, right?
For the site. Lurkin taken out as Drindro showing this one-sided cloak and dagger composition. Dancing the butterfly into the backline. And we're starting to see the positioning taken by Virtus Pro, finding the Karmic Revival and setting on through for another counter pickup to remove that Adam. But they were able to revive themselves with the Cocoon to keep this as a 6v6. Nemix has moved on to the thing. Clobbering time for the lockdown. To look for the turnaround. Everyone's going to get locked down with the counter. Ryan Bagamoto, invisible boundary for the push on in. Insomnia can try and take this. If the Meteor can land, they can
nothing.
But it is completely blocked out.
And the Goddess of Death is still going because Meteor M had one-shot capability, but it also absorbed all of the damage that could be bringing out Fire's ultimate early. Spark is able to get a late pick onto the Invis with an Insomnia denied. One of the strategists are slowly falling apart as Virtus Pro are able to sustain through the fight and finally stabilize.
Yeah.
But Insomnia, having been able to buy themselves that first cap, how long that fight actually ended up being.
Yeah, they have 75%
of the point, and the composition, the job is done. Away goes the res composition. Now we're on damage burst.
If they can get it back and have a fight last and then get rid of Virtus Pro, they can have this first point. They could win that first point. Now they have to go back because there's one of Insomnia on point. It was the Venom? It was Venom.
On the backline with that Ultron as they push on in. Spark though is doing so much.
So this is a smart Ultron play. For those of you who didn't catch it, their Ultron, and that would be Nocta, moved his drone to someone else who was lower health. Because then he would get his ult faster. He now has his ult. He was at 90%, had it within seconds, right? Moved it back to the flyer because nobody else immediately needed that healing drone.
Forever is chasing so many of the strategists. But manages to come through the Eye of Agamotto.
Nice Eye of Agamotto.
Dark teleport out of it in time. Gets caught in the phase change, but Fire's Goddess of Death.
I don't know. Could be.
Now only relying on the Rage of Ultron, and that's not going to be enough. Sparker gets the go-ahead to go on with the Dance of the Butterflies, and after that one, Insomnia falls silent.
Fi just saved their team that fight. Relaxing Knights getting a stolen ultimate onto that Eternal Bond, setting themselves up for what looks like a one fight. But Fi found two perfect shots. Lurkin and Relaxing Knights sitting together, and they are picked off fast
and they have Venom ult.
To hold the point. Insomnia, they portal in. They get a very quick pickup onto Fi, and they push on in. 90% for Virtus Pro, but if Insomnia can clean this out, they might be able to take this round one of game one. That portal is keeping the reinforcements coming. The Loki firing squad up on the high ground is pushing on in. They're trying to keep the pressure onto the thing.
I mean, everyone from Virtus Pro is just forced into this small room. They've got to break past the torch that's laying the gauntlet down with.
They still have Venom ult. Venom ult's not that bad, but it can get rid of people. They have Magic ult coming in. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it, but
was able to pull up the Eternal Bond. Virtus Pro bide that time, build the win condition, and out they come with the Eternal Bond, paving the way onto point. They flood with the Terror King, managing to catch so many players on the side of Insomnia, and that is the
unfortunate.
Finally going to Virtus Pro's side, but we said that we think that this might be closer when you look at these two teams, when you look at the...
Well, they weren't checking on Venom, right? So we didn't see if they were twerking. They might have been twerking, I don't know. It's a fun emote, but he's not pink, so I don't think he was.
They are looking incredibly strong at the opening.
It came down to ultimate economy, having the reinforcements coming in with the clobbering time, setting up, preventing any of the strategists from getting any of that healing output. Virtus Pro controlled that final fight even without having to strange in, which they do have available. As a reminder, it was not bad against them. They just have chosen not to do it. Instead, just going for quick reinforcements like Fire over to that Star-Lord instead of the Hela.
Ooh, you're on Twitch now.
To the point faster.
Well, welcome.
The exact reason why Nocta swapped over to the Magic, but being sent to the Thing massively reduced their mobility, and they were picked off.
Fire as well on the Star is going to be much harder.
How do you like the big screen?
Than the Hela. As we saw, that portal fully directed on the Hela's location before Virtus Pro were able to give any form of feel. Fire was just gone. Plus, he's going to have Galactic Legend and Insomnia banned out of the Magneto, and the EMEA have no ultimate that can be used to absorb it. nor sustain it. As right now, they don't have a single strategist ultimate. So out comes Pyro Prison, trying to buy themselves the delay. Meteor M catches them, but you have to be sure that it doesn't catch the rooftop. The Spinzy still
You have Burger?
Burger.
Burger.
The regeneration domain before we even start the brawl for the point, and that means that Sparker doesn't have to worry about the low-key AoE healing everyone back to full for his ultimate. Dance as the butterflies comes on through. Enough of that. Insomnia should be losing this first fight.
You can see the incredible chase potential of that Psylocke running on down to the Venom and making sure that they do not get onto the point. At this time,
Pizza better.
Take
Depends on your preference, right? Also, there's pizzas with burger stuff on it.
They
So.
are moving on to that Captain America, inspired by Asmo, who saved their team so many times.
Who says you
With
can't
this
combine them,
maximum
right?
Sustained onto the objective, and now giving them some backline dive potential to keep the pressure on. They have Supernova, Eye of Agamotto, Rage of Ultron, Invisible Boundary, and almost having that God of Mischief. Everything is available for Insomnia. How many resources do they burn to flip this?
Eye of Agamotto potentially forever doesn't want to use it against the Vanguards. He needs the backline, but he's being bodyguarded out of it by Nevix on the thing. Demon comes on through with the Supernova, and Eye of Agamotto finds its target, but a beautiful Terror Cape from Vidro actually manages to pick the Strange before Maelstrom can find the picks against Virtus Pro instead. Eternal Bond comes on through. Back in we go with Sparker's POV, catching both of the backline strategists, combined with Nevix's power off of just the thing's fists.
Please send both.
Insomnia are driven all the way back to spawn.
I asked the question,
No.
how many ultimates did Insomnia burn to flip? The question should have been, how many did they need? Because it was more than what they used. They used Rage of Ultron. They used Eye of Agamotto. They used literally everything except for that invisible boundary that they had available. And it still wasn't enough. Virtus Pro repelling them here. This thing is putting in some absolute work on these long extended fights on the point.
They use Invis Boundary too. They sequester themselves in a tight space, which means Nevix gets a free go on covering time. He uses it before Invis Boundary. Lurkin tries to get the boundary off to save the team, but it's not in time to save the Loki. Major Freeze comes out onto Sentinels. He tries to just dive the backline and force Virtus Pro to have to turn their attention off of the point itself, but Fire is holding it down so low with the Galactic Legend. Insomnia don't have the shield pressure. They don't have the Magneto. They don't have any presence. And what looked like it was going to be a continuous back and forth, a very much chess into checkers match between the two
Unfortunate.
teams, turned into a dominant Virtus Pro performance as we went into the falls.
Very nicely done. We saw the ban onto that Adam, thinking that might have been an option, but there was still that Psylocke. Like you said, Sparker just being allowed onto a different hero for once and proving that it still has a place. Virtus Pro with a solid opening, but again, we saw Insomnia moments of brilliance where they nearly took it. But Virtus Pro, that is vintage.
Sparker 24-1 is actually
What do you mean?
insane. 53% accuracy as well on the Psylocke. 14,595 damage.
Why every single time they go to the Star-Lord at the end? It's also because Fi is the one that's cleaning everything up.
Essentially by the entirety of Insomnia jumping directly on top of him. I think if you're Insomnia though, like you go Symbiotic Surface. At some point in this matchup, you go Symbiotic Surface. It's by far the map that you felt the most comfortable, but we did see cracks in terms of the atom composition. Letting Sparker's Psylocke through the mix does mean that you have a hero who has enough mobility as well as the damage to be able to just fully punish the Karmic Revival positions.
And this thing, we have not seen it much at all. Getting massive clobbering times to lock them down. Yeah, you can struggle into these massive healer compositions, especially if there's triple strategists to make sure that you can try and sustain through these fights. They can't heal if they're being in the process of being knocked around by the thing. Nevix adjusting the composition, even though they had the Strange available, which we've been seeing so consistently. They decide against it, even though they had a Venom potential for themselves, if they did lock it earlier. They swap over to the thing because they know it's what they needed to just keep people in place, and it works. Mwah, chef's kiss, beautifully.
Not just that, not just about keeping people in place in the terms of Insomnia's team, it also kept Sparker up. Damage reduction is attached to the Thing's jumps, and we got to see a lot of the time when Sparker was going for the dance of the butterflies, which can sometimes leave the Psylocke vulnerable as you come out of that ultimate, because a lot of the time when you're setting up your dance
It also leaves you vulnerable when you go in it and you're in front of everyone.
To get into position to be able to use them, and you might not.
It's
have
fun
them
punishing a
back on
Psylocke when
cooldown
she does
after the
that.
ultimate ends, which then leaves you vulnerable to being picked. But no, they play perfectly. The Thing essentially being a dive target, no matter the fact that he is as solid as a rock. But we'll see if VP have as solid a performance in map number 2 after this break.
If I was able to play Groot at all, I might have played, gotten that skin for Groot, the Groot skin. Unfortunately, I don't play Groot. I'm not good as Groot. I'm never gonna buy a skin for Groot. I mean, hey, sometimes you just gotta have the... have the dad jokes at the ready, right? True, the Thing is rock. A living rock. Alright, well, we're gonna see if Virtus Pro is going to win 3-0, but... unless Insomnia can come out with something really innovative that Virtus Pro can't really fight against, I feel like it basically is gonna be that. Which is sad, because, like, you want to see, like, more people be good, right? Like, actually good. Marvel Rivals. Right, I forgot. What is he 6? It's a lucky FPS.
We are back with our game number 2 coming up. Virtus Pro sent down into the lower bracket, but have seemingly become the waking giant as they have been stomping their way through. A couple teams have given them a little bit of trouble on the way, but no one has yet been able to set up an effective roadblock.
No one has yet been able to set up effective bans against this team too, because like you and I, we were discussing it in the 5 minutes of downtime. Like, how do you even approach banning a team like Virtus Pro, where they have so much experience in the esports scene already, and so many regard them as having the best of a certain hero multiple times in that same role? So it's like, okay, we banned out the Punisher, we banned out the Torch, we banned out the Hela. Well, they've still got Psylocke, and Sparker's Psylocke proved that it is still the best in the entire world.
oh, they've been picking Adam Warlock literally every game, and Spark has been playing very well on it. Well, that's obvious. It's literally happened almost every game. Let's ban it away. No, that was a mercy. You will see the Psylocke come in, and you will have a rough time. Always in the backline, finding the Karmic Revival when it came out to literally immediately get a huge amount of damage and a quick blow-up onto Adam themselves. This is the fear that Virtus.pro can instill in anyone they go up against as we're starting off heading in. Will we see Insomnia adjust their draft as they are heading to their favorite symbiotic surface?
Yeah, this was one that you and I thought was definitely going to be coming at some point in this series, and it is now, as EMEA is going to get banned out. The last time Insomnia saved the low-key thinking that it would be able to shut down things like that Psylocke, still go for that low-key save. Maybe they want to pair it up with something like a Punisher so that you can use the regeneration domain in your ultimate cycles as Virtus.pro continue the tradition that we saw of Burnin, banning out the Luna and then grabbing the Magneto for themselves.
Which means they're almost certainly going to get that one side.
I think they're going to ban Cloak and Dagger for first, bro.
Will not have an opportunity to protect anything until right at the end of this advanced pick and ban phase. So where else do they choose to go? How do you ban? We've talked about it, and you can see them taking extra time. They're going to start off simple. Get rid of the stuff that can protect the backline. Remove the Loki. This is a solid, safe first step. But where do you go from here? Could we see one-sided Cloak? Do they ban it out finally to prevent that Terror Cape?
Surely. No, it's still Fire's Torch.
Yep.
Virtus.pro are going to get one-sided Cloak and Dagger again. If Insomnia lock the Torch, Virtus.pro are immediately going to be saving the Cloak and Dagger yet again.
Apparently, says Insomnia. Let's just do that again and see if it works better this time, as we will see Virtus.pro looking for...
I don't know, at that point I would have just banned Cloak and Dagger.
The Cloak and Dagger getting protected in this...
Knowing that they would protect them.
Insomnia... It comes down to one ban and one protect. This is where you make something matter. Do you mirror again and ban Adam for a second time? They look at Luna, which means
but that lets
slightly weaken through the Psylocke, but it's still good.
Yeah, that lets Cypher. I was going to say they've only got one ban slot left because they go after Fire's Torch, which means that they go for the Luna, not the Psylocke. As they will be able to save
Magneto
Magneto
protect.
at least. So if Virtus.pro do decide to run a Punisher on this map, he is potentially going to get shut down if the Meteor M reaction check is passed, as Invis is going to be the last ban coming on through. So we're not going to be having one of those.
Also, if there is a Punisher on the enemy team, they are going to reactively attack.
Low-key, but they're probably going to have to go for a triple strategist.
They'll
at some
have to yeet it immediately or have it be broken.
They don't get Cloak and Dagger and they don't get Luna, which means that Loki's going to have to, well, one, copy Tritra's ultimate, and two, Loki Mantis is not going to be enough to sustain your entire team.
Let's talk about their composition from last time, from their match versus Rad Esports. How did they adjust it? They did run this Adam. They ran whatever strategist they could get. In one case, it was the Invisible Woman. In another case, they tried it with a Cloak and Dagger of their own. But then their last strategist for Lurkin was Rocket, using those extra revives and consistent jump packs to keep that Wolverine flying through the air. But running this into Virtus.pro, who have been given their Psylocke Rocket, is a little bit squishier if they're not near their team and could get blown up extremely quickly.
Not just that, Sparker is going to be perma-scouting the area, which means that that BRV station is going to be permanently found out if Lurkin's not able to place it. And indeed, it is going to be the Mantis, Loki, Adam coming on through from the side of Insomnia as Sentinel sets up a portal. They're going to be looking to try and grab one person, but Virtus.pro, see the animation, everyone stacks on up to be able to care for each other. Can Demon find the grab? No, he can't. Virtus.pro have already fully abandoned high ground and fall back to point itself, which means that Noctis should be getting a lot of poke pressure, but Fi gets bubbled with the Bulwark and to be able to counterplay, and Insomnia are forced to drop instead.
Virtus.pro, they are playing a lot of retreat play here, giving up a lot of percentage, but that's because they want to make sure that they have the right angle and the right timing with that Iron Bulldog on the Blasted Barrage. There is a Demon pickup, trying to focus onto Finzi, but with that light flow, it's almost enough to keep them topped up, but Lurkin will get the finishing blow. Nevix is taken out. And
He
it's
exploded.
They show why this is their map of choice. One by one, they are able to take down Virtus Pro, creep on in, and Nevix is like, all right, Wolverine's here, time for Thing.
Time to go to Thing indeed. No more grabs. As Insomnia, they're not going to have all of the access to the flight of the Wolverine.
I mean, you can choose not to go for Thing, and the Thing can get grabbed, right? But he can still get CC'd.
Rather than that rocket, so we're not going to be getting.
So even though he won't get grabbed, he will be stun locked for a bit.
However, this Wolverine can still look for the grabs onto Finzius. CP is actually on the invis woman right now, having the counter grab, of course, physics to try and stop any shenanigans of a Vanguard getting nabbed out early. It's going to be Galactic Legend with the bullet from the Magneto, already forcing out both the Soul Bond and the regeneration domain, as Nocta was a little bit too far away from the Loki's doppelganger side and was forced to invest the Soul Link to make sure he survives, which means that Sparker gets an absolute smorgasbord of targets with the Dance of the Butterflies.
Both of the revivers are taken down. They will come
Yeah.
back, though, as Nocta.
I mean, the only reason though that Dance of the Butterfly actually works there is because everyone else was also fighting. But if you're actually being what's it, right? A flanker, right? An actual flanker, and your team's not with you, and you actually go for that, you are not going to be able to pick anyone.
Finzi's able to pick out.
Which is why I'm saying this only works because their team is also fighting.
Go over to the group, as we're now going to see them try and use things like these walls to give them that space to not go down to the poke, potentially take an off-angle play without getting instantly jumped upon by a Star-Lord, by a Psylocke, as Demon is pushed back yet again, quite literally, by the force physics coming on through from Saipei. Last stand is in play for the Wolverine, as is Invis Bandages. We're going to see the rock, paper, scissors matchup between the strategist and the duelist to see if they can grab them out of that space. Strangling Prison grabs them in an entirely different way, and the Meteor M from Forever scoops out Sparker.
This time they're all right next to that regeneration domain. Demon comes in with the last stand, takes out Dridro, and it's just back and forth between these teams. Insomnia are pushing on in. You can't pick up the Thing, but percentage damage is percentage damage. Don't matter who you are. As we see Insomnia
100%.
You mentioned
So if you don't know, Wolverine has percentage damage, so the more health a character has, the more damage he does. So basically the Thing, even though he doesn't move, it's a giant damage booster, right?
Coming on out for the duelist on the side of Virtus Pro. Insomnia, though,
basically you fly at them and go like, well, you can't move, but thanks for the damage.
The doppelgangers right next to Nocta, they're not making the same mistake of needing to overlap both the regen domain and the soul bonders. The fight is on the point. Nocta drops to be with the team. Terracate comes on through, but the Atom is able to avoid it. Spark is still holding on. He's waiting for those resources to be burned before he takes center stage.
The first resource is burned. Everything else is still a little bit further away on the cooldown. Meaning Sparker, they have the trigger. Is soul bond available? Regeneration domain is, and that will shut this down. But now Sparker burning yet another resource can start to get out to the backline. Dridro coming in with that eternal bomb, forces them into the doorway, meaning this is a very grouped up area where Relaxing Nights will get taken down. Immediate Karmic Revival, but reinforcements come in for Virtus Pro to make sure that they have everyone on the board. Nevix got trapped in there by the group walls for so long and still got out. Dragon Prison onto the backline, but Guardian Barrier says absolutely not.
Oh my goodness, Virtus Pro are able to turn it around! The two strategists both got grabbed up by the Strangling Prison, but the Guardian Barrier heal AoE from Saipei keeps them in the fight, and then Nevix on the Thing just gets to punch. Ding ding, round 2. Insomnia gets sent back and have to find another way to reapproach. That, however, is Finzi on the Strange. The teleport recontest has been burned from the time bank, and Insomnia do have their favorite
Hi, Booga Booga.
Wolverine.
How you doing?
Sets up, forces out Insomnia to back all the way up. They're going to have to go for a hard contest of this high ground, which is exactly what Virtus Pro are waiting. Finzi's waiting in the wings. In comes Ayabademono against the entire team.
A full for Team Wipe. Nocta and Lurkin, they are not going to cocoon. They will head right back to spawn, not wanting to deal with that. Fincy not on the mag, so they don't have that extra Iron Bulwark for Fi, and they do not need it. You don't need to protect your team if your opponent's team is in their spawn again. But they're going to try and portal past, realizing they might have a quick timing here, choosing to fight on the high ground instead of being sieged upon. They choose to take the duel, pushing on in. Final stand, Galactic Legend for the turnaround, though eaten by the media.
Ooh.
That's a big pickup.
That's a big ult burn though, and that's huge cooldowns invested. Fi with the Galactic Legend is still able to force out the regeneration domain from Galactic.
Yeah, that's what I said, that the thing can't get grabbed, but he can't get CC'd. He was ulting, but the actual grab from Wolverine stops him from doing that because he gets actually stun locked, right? So the actual pickup doesn't happen, but the stun lock, that the effect that it has still goes off.
Throw themselves onto point. Terra Kid comes on through. Sparker tries to dance around them, but the sedation comes out from Lurkin. The Psylocke isn't able to tap, but Fi absolutely is. Intruder with the Eternal Bomb is able to fully invade Insomnia's space. Sentinel comes on through with the Eye of Agamotto. Nevix tries to shut down the pressure with the Yancey Street charge into clobbering time, keeping them snared on up into the dance of the butterflies. And it looked like Insomnia will find the turnaround, but Virtus Pro have the answer. They shut the Comic Revival down.
Parker has so much map awareness, always where they need to be, cleaning them off the board. But Insomnia, they did get back. Demon gets the double, holding on.
Nice.
They hit point number 2, and Virtus Pro.
What, the Born Again? Yeah.
On lock, but Insomnia, it was the objective.
Ult got burned though. This is unfortunate, but
well, Adam is pulling so much
it's not the most important ult that they need, and you gotta get it back when you actually do need it. And if you can position yourself well, that's fine. However, they do have to get away from Sparker.
They might be admirable for getting the triple cap here as they push on in.
Beginning to think that Demon might need an exorcism to be fully ousted. He's got the fastball. He's trying to find the grab, but he doesn't match you off of a force physics coming on through from Saipe. Momentum is stunted by the Galactic Legend coming on through from the side of Fi. The Sparker is on the right side awaiting, getting that.
Ooh.
Sleep from Lurkin. The CC shot.
Amazing sleep.
And Virtus Pro were forced just with base abilities alone to send Insomnia back.
Demon has swapped over to the Punisher. They've decided that they are done with that Wolverine, with the thing out here. Such a massive hitbox, and of course that flying Star-Lord. They're choosing to try and take them out, but Insomnia getting completely zoned out by Virtus Pro, who hold the doorway, take it out. Lurkin, forever gets Cyber though. They're trying to even this up. Galactic Knights.
Oh, they got it back. They got it back.
But Sparker is on the flank, looking for the interrupts, just dueling out Nocta, keeping them out of this fight as overtime is ticking down. This distraction is buying so much time for VP.
Yeah, it's also stopping Nocta from getting set up for Comic Revival, which needs the meters to be able to connect onto the bodies. Sparker was taken CC'd out of the ultimate, so has it back up almost immediately, but Nocta has the Soul Bomb, and Demon has the Final Judgment. Lurkin over to the Rocket also has
100% Demon is very, very big for this team.
Regardless, it's an overtime fight.
As long as he has the correct character, I feel like he can help his team tremendously. That's not to say that his team sucks without him or anything, but the main damage is gonna be him.
The movement, the space to take down the Comic Revival spot.
Oh!
Galactic Legend! They buy the space to deal with it with the regeneration domain, and then Demon buys them the pick with the Punisher, and immediately Virtus Pro are losing ground in this fight. Comic Revivals come on through from Insomnia, but as Virtus Pro's players, they're falling entirely unimpeded as Insomnia's side. They've just got to deal with a couple of stray staggers. The Soul Bomb is there to solidify.
Nasty there, Nocta. Nasty. We do like a good Adam Warlock though. Good Adam Warlock, absolutely deadly.
Just keep going every time. The swaps moving away. They see the thing on the board. They move over to the Punisher to just try and melt it. Immediately it swapped over to the Venom to try and deal with that, to make sure that they're not really punished as hard. So Demon turns their attention onto Sparker. We are seeing the adjustment from Virtus Pro. They're realizing that, this different composition is a little bit rougher and we need some extra sustain of our own. They go go back to Old Faithful. It's time for Sparker on the Adam Warlock. Dritro sticking with that Cloak and Dagger because it's insane. And Fi is going to have a lot of faith put in them on that Star-Lord.
Yeah, I mean, the Loki is going to have really good sustain in the form of the regeneration domains. However, the 12-second cycle of Terror Cape from Drudro is definitely going to give Virtus.pro the edge in terms of damage that Fi can do with the burst down. So the entrances to these fights, the Star-Lord with the barrage into the bubble coming on through from Finzi's Bulwark, that's going to be something that Insomnia are going to have to watch out for, especially because that AoE damage instantaneously breaks every single Loki doppelganger if Relaxing Night stacks them a little bit too close.
Gonna have to stay split up right now. They've got the Loki firing squad up on the high ground to break
Loki
that
firing squad.
We are seeing Nevix dropping the portal, and they have a counter portal forcing the shutdown. Nicely done. Not going for a trap. Let's just drop overwhelming damage and prevent that from coming in, and that is gonna slow down Virtus.pro a lot.
Yeah, Virtus.pro weren't actually planning on walking out of that portal though. They had the Mantis and the Widow.
Yeah.
And the Terror Cape coming on through. They were trying to find a one-shot onto one of the players from Insomnia, but Insomnia have double shield, so the Widow's not able to find a hole in the wall.
That's the fun of a double shield, right?
Over to the Star-Lord is going to be trying to find an engagement, an entrance for the team, slowly chipping down some of these resources. However, that's really Dagger Dome invested from the side of Drudro, trying to build up to this first Eternal Bond to have that immediate instantaneous out-sustainability in comparison to the other side. A huge barrage comes on through from Fi. Fi's almost 50% of the ultimate with all of the damage boost that was stacked on top of that Star-Lord. And unfortunately for Insomnia, they have no choice but to give the space. Demon has to go over to the turret just to try and hold the ground down.
They dropped a lot of damage. That did force a little bit of a backup out of Virtus.pro as Dredro, Sipper, and Sparker are all taken down. Insomnia, they are buying every extra second here to make sure that even if there is a triple cap, they could at least try and contest it. As they, of course, had an empty time bank at the end of that first round.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people currently aren't playing Star-Lord purely because there's other characters that will probably work better, but Star-Lord is a very strong pick.
Finzi's already got me.
I mean, you have to be able to aim. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of Star-Lord players that don't know how to aim. But if you have decent aim, even if you don't like have a high number, right? If you're able to lock on to like, ooh.
The same cannot be said for Saipe. Saipe goes down, and Final Judgment from Demon is already creating this space as they try to come on through with the Meteor.
Amazing.
Shutdown, but no,
Meteor. He held on to Meteor and like half a second too long, and it exploded. That's amazing.
Eternal Bond for the setup from the Relaxing Nights Clone. The push on in. Demon was set up on the high ground, and they are wrapped around here.
We're spot for a fight. You might think so, but like having high ground is best. So like whatever high ground you can get, you take.
Forever's dropping extremely low. For the counter in the doorway.
Oof.
It's an empty room because everyone who's in it is deceased.
That was an insane Eye of Agamotto from Sentinel, and off of the back of that one, Virtus.pro are in shambles. They've got to make sure that they get back to be able to regroup in time. 1 minute left. Fi's going to have the Galactic Legend, but that's all Virtus.pro have to play around with right now. They can buy them.
Also, this high ground necessarily isn't that bad, right?
But
yeah, Star-Lord's a very solid go-to because he does decent damage. Actually has an attack that'll let you attack whatever's you know, running around being a menace. You can fly up and use that ability too, so.
Lurkin has that Cosmic Yard Amplifier. The BRB is set up around the corner. Once again, in comes Nevix.
He's hit scan. You don't lead on Star-Lord. You don't lead on Star-Lord.
Bring them back, so it's still a 5v4 as Cypher was taken down. Here comes.
If you want to be effective with Star-Lord, you gotta shoot into the group. Not go for like individual tiny picks, but go into the group, right?
No sleep till playoffs. They clean out Virtus.pro. There's no strange to Portal. There's 4 seconds left. Venom's giving everything, but they're all the seconds left, and Venom is slain on Clintar. Karmic Revival to touch the point, to bring Venom back, to try and delay Insomnia will match him with the Meteor Urn to buy time. It does not take down Fi, who's pushing in for the counter. Meteor Urn is blocked out by the Dark Force teleport, meaning that they're trying to go back in. Vinci getting healed.
If they get pushed off even once, Insomnia wins this round.
Dive by Sentinel into the backline. Demon is down. The Virtus Pro are relentless. They've got a sliver left, but they're running out of bodies. But the reinforcements are coming so fast.
They've got the Terror Cape, they've got the Dagger Dome. They're trying to stabilize on the point. The Bulwark allows them to walk.
There goes Mantis.
AOE, but Insomnia have the Regeneration Domain, which is allowing
there goes Adam.
to hold firm and strong on this point. Nevix has Feast of the Abyss. Where's the Venom? He's trying to find
Mantis came back because she had Karmic Revival.
He's found it. Lurkin goes down. Nocta removed.
Fi coming back.
Strange to teleport back in and make a play with the melee off of the Terror Cape set up from Dreadrow. And I believe the Virtus Pro might be able to find A after all. Insomnia tried to hold on, but Virtus Pro remains strong. And we go to B.
Gonna try Squirrel today for first time. Widow's pretty fun too. Loki is my favorite player though. Loki's amazing. He just gotta know how to play him. Widow is fun, but unless you know how to play her close range, I would suggest actually starting off in quick play if you are playing comp to try and get used to her kit. Because if you are unable to play her close range, you're basically just gonna be a nuisance. I don't care what you say on how good you are at, sniping people. You legitimately are a nuisance because you're gonna die more than you're gonna get kills, right?
Making sure that they are out of the way of the Wolverine as far from them as they possibly can to keep that ultimate going.
Good. You can keep the sports in a tight spot all game. Yep.
A Solar Resurgence comes out from Saipe, just trying to give Virtus Pro the stability in this fight. They know with how long it takes to grab A, they can't get slowed down a single time. Nocta takes down Saipe, and that's going to signal Virtus Pro pulling back. They cannot afford to get staggered.
We've seen that Gamma fastball, the Cosmic fastballs coming out, but not yet able to find the targets. It's just the sustain from Insomnia, where they're able to duel out. They're still on this rocket with these heavy, multiple bodies in the front line, using that big repair mode and that, of course, Battle Rebirth Beacon to stay in the fight. The Majestic Demon flying through the air. Fi forced to retreat as they were the one who was caught.
The Majestic Demon.
For the sustained clobbering times available for both sides.
Yeah, Insomnia, though, have the high ground. They've got 3 lanes to play their players on in anticipation of that clobbering time, which they thought was coming out. That's an early soul bomb from Nocta, and they might pay for it. It's still going to be hold on, but it forced the regeneration domain on the end of Insomnia, and that knocked down those precious resources when this fight goes further. Dreader of the Eternal Bond's going to be able to continue the aggression from Virtus Pro's side. Nevix gets stunned on out, but it's not going to be enough, as Insomnia are still able to find the pick. Disengaging back into the small room. Sparker has to try and stabilize the team with the Karmic Revival. Forever's not able to find the pick off of the Meteor M.
Cobblestone time.
Amplified from Insomnia's end matches Witch with the Soul Resurgence, and it's a matter of inches.
Everyone's grouped up, going in. Vinci finds Relaxing Nights while they were in that extra healing, but they're brought back with the Karmic Revival from Nocta, who saves theirs for that little bit longer. Forever is back. They're sustaining. Demon finds Vinci and is absolutely wiped on the turnaround. Fi saving their final judgment, their last stand for the turnaround here. Finds Nocta, cleans them up. They have Cocoon, but numbers are heavily in Virtus Pro's favor. They are mirroring Insomnia with these last second pushes. There are no bodies left. They look for a wraparound. Portal comes in to try and delay it with 2 meters and 60 seconds left. Forever is immediately cleaned off the board.
Yeah, Terror Cape unfortunately connects, and that amplified damage is too much for Insomnia to be able to stand. And now it is going to be Insomnia having to teleport back to the C point spawns, which is going to give Virtus Pro so much space to be able to push up and ahead, as Insomnia cannot risk losing someone. Demon is off of the Wolverine onto the Punisher, trying to utilize the threat of the turret as well as the CC immunity of it to make sure that Fi on this Wolverine Wolverine gets scout knocked out before the fight can properly start. As we can see, Virtus Pro do have that Eternal Bond, but so far opt not to use it. They're waiting for them to feel truly comfortable that Insomnia are going to be forced apart with so many ultimates, and there it is. Eternal Bond in. Insomnia don't have the space to be able to give to disengage it, and the Terror Cape hits the maximum amount of players on the team, but there's no follow-up as Insomnia just give the space, but that means they give the ground on the objective too.
Eyes looking for flanks, looking for anyone. If they could get Demon, that would be huge. Knocked back by the Mag Cannon of the Magneto, but they're topped up. Final judgment for the push-in, and they're gonna commit to it.
Oh no! Oh, that's evil.
Final judgment of the push meteor rim.
And it got no one.
Picked up, but it will revive. They've got 93% onto that Carbon Revival. Sparker has theirs and has to drop it because that final judgment did so much value. Pushing on in. Sensi takes out 5, and they're brought back with the revive. Forever Meteor M takes out no one. It was a clone. As Sentinel takes out Nevix once again in their second elimination of this fight. Zipper's brought back thanks to the Cocoon and Virtus Pro. They're running out of members. 5 seconds for Nevix. It's not enough. Insomnia even up the score.
They did it. The pushback on the Punisher with the Punisher ult was what did it.
We think that this match is gonna go, and we were like, yeah, Insomnia for sure pull Symbiotic Surface. For sure they pull Symbiotic Surface. It's the best map. They've looked insane on it. They've come out from just...
So you might think it was like later.
Turnaround scenarios. 30 seconds they had to be able to beat.
But yeah, you might have thought it was like after that, but the moment that Demon was ulting is really the moment that they started to get the pushback on Virtus Pro that they needed to get them off point.
Oh my goodness.
Especially very well done because they waited until the rocket ult was up for the damage boost and overhealth. Ulted in because they would be hard to kill. It's not impossible to kill someone when they are in rocket ult, but it's extremely hard. So unless the whole team is focusing on that one person, especially when the Punisher is ulting. Oh no! Did not notice that Loki ran into Sparker there.
Single bit of those resources can stop an ultimate, can stop a pick.
But yeah, the moment that he ran up, they had to go back. The Adam ult really it was useful, but it was also useless because he ulted right around the corner. It was very easy to pick people off, and at that moment, Insomnia really had all the space that they needed to push them back.
Because they knew exactly when to swap. When Virtus Pro tried to move into the thing,
so that's what happened.
To the Punisher. When they
didn't show the point of the Punisher, but apparently Demon ulted the Mag, and Magneto wasn't at full health. So what happens when you kill someone when they ult, their ult goes away. Backhanded comment on Adam for the win. Oh no, I'm not saying it was a bad ult or anything. I'm just saying that it was around the corner and it was very easy for people to get picks. And they had enough space to do that, right? It's not that that ult was bad, it's just that the moment that pushback happened is when they actually already lost the round. So they could have ulted, and that ult is probably what they used to try and stay in. There's a moth in front of my camera.
So much time had been just denied to
you guys can see it.
Both A and B that they needed 2 fights total to be able to fully shut down C, and that's exactly what they play for. Final judgment.
But that the moment they got pushed back with the Punisher ult is the moment they actually lost, because they had to give up the space that they actually did not have, because they didn't have the time to give up the space that they needed to be able to get back in. Especially when you have only like 30 to 20 seconds. That's not enough time.
Over 10 meters in front of the player who does get
location, yep, 100%. But that location wasn't bad, right? It was around the corner. They did not have immediate line of sight on the ult. There was no one to really flank immediately. So, right, having it, and it was relatively close to where the point was. So that was a very good ult. Especially because it also got the healers back in. Unfortunately, there was not enough time. Thank you for that follow.
has joined the legend.
Go, my children. Make yourself useful.
So we are going to actually see at least 4 rounds. I wonder if Insomnia is able to win from VP though. Because VP has next pick of map. Well, like Adam's ult is not about finding prime real estate, it's finding the right real estate, right? It doesn't have to be prime. It doesn't have so long as it's not the worst, it's fine. Because what you want to do with Adam's ult is you want to make sure that your team is able to come back in, right? It's not about keeping people alive, it's not about big reses, it's about keeping your team at a 6 stack. So you either do it preemptively in a place where people can't immediately kill them. It's free real estate. But yeah, you're either going to do it in a place where people can go back immediately even if no one is dead, or you're going to do it around the corner when 1 or 2 people are dead because you want your full team to be there instead of just 5 or 4 people. The only thing you don't want to do, unless there is a reason for you to actually do it that way, because, for example, your fellow healer just died as they were going to ult, but they still have their ult, and it's an AoE ult, right? That is the only time you're actually going to be rezzing on point, because at that point, you can say, I'm rezzing now, use your ult immediately, right? Yeah. But like, I actually made a video on it, and I made a comment there that the way that you want to do that with Adam's ult is the only time you are allowed to res on point or inside of the enemy's line of sight is when you have a teammate that is able to use their AoE healer ult. That is not Rocket. Or when you have a Loki with his runes up, right? So if you have a Loki that has runes, or a fellow healer that has AoE heals. That's the only time you want to do it on point, because you can immediately heal everyone.
Do you remember who you really are? Show me that you are still the only one for me. I'll be waiting for
Thank you. I mean, that's why we keep making content here, right? Eventually, people will find it and maybe share it with their friends, and maybe more people will come in, right? And even if not a whole lot of people come in here, if even one person finds this helpful, then I'm good. I know, we're gamers, we don't have friends. It's nice to dream, okay?
Well, so far, our predictions for the day, Tetcha, are bang on the money. Not sure about you all in chat, though. As Virtus Pro versus Insomnia, I know a lot of people are anticipating it to be a 3-0 sweep, but no. Insomnia dig their heels into the ground and say, we will not give up. We will fight you through overtime after overtime to be able to full push Symbiotic Surface. And now the ball, just like the Wolverine fastball, is fully in Virtus Pro's court. Where do they decide to take us?
This is not a situation that Virtus Pro are unfamiliar with. They have been in this situation where they've lost maps against teams before. Peps, for example, they've made it. Obviously, Burbo Patapim, Zero Tenacity, Luminosity Gaming. They have experienced losing maps. It's series where we've seen it so rare, which is why it was so exciting when Rad were able to take that victory against them and knock them down into this lower bracket. And Insomnia, they have shown something so scary that Virtus Pro took aspects of it to try and counter it, but Insomnia, having more experience, they adjusted faster.
Enjoy your nap, Patagon.
Take that map number 2. Virtus Pro, though, you talked about it earlier.
Thanks for joining in on Twitch. I appreciate it.
In terms of domination, now they're still not going to be able to play that yet, because we're in the best of 5s. They have to choose a convoy map to go into for next one.
Yes, but then the map after that one, it can be domination again, Tetcha. It can be domination again. We're in the BO5s, which means that we can potentially see more than 3 maps. And the way that is going to work is that you can't play the same map type twice.
We could possibly see all 5. Who knows? Ooh, Midtown.
So
interesting.
If you wanted to, you could play a convoy map immediately after this, but more than likely, if Insomnia lose this, they will be taking us to a
True.
domination.
Also, if you
As
have not
Virtus
played
Pro
the
decided
season
to take us
2.5,
to
I don't blame
Midtown
you.
with an Emma
The
ban
game is
right
fun.
off
The
bus
game suck
immediately.
ass.
And Insomnia, yet again, going to be saving the
Mirror
Loki
ban
from
on
the
Emma,
relaxing
we've
night.
seen
We
that a
have
lot.
seen the saving
Loki
grace
save.
of a lot of Insomnia's fights. These regeneration domains have been working double, triple time.
I thought
you
you were
could
gonna
say.
ban
First
Cloak and
team
Dagger
that
for
has
Virtus
let
Pro
Insomnia
this
get
time,
onto
but
that
like
Loki
they've
election
been
that
able
up until
to
now had one of
keep
the
it up.
smallest
So
terror pools of any
knows?
player. Only playing
Luna
Invisible
ban.
Woman up until this series from the research.
I
we
feel
were able to
vindicated
have a
knowing
look
that
at.
Luna gets
And now
banned in this
getting Loki
competition a lot.
almost every single game and showing so
You
much
should
how
not
they have
allow
stolen
Luna
so
to exist
many
in
of
ranked
Virtus Pro's
matches
eternal bombs
at this
that
point.
It's like they're essentially playing Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, and Insomnia too are going to be able to come on through with
Loki
the
ban.
actual Loki ban against Virtus Pro. So no God of Mischief coming on through from their backline.
Cloak
as
and
Virtus
Dagger
Pro
ban
once again are going
and
to be going for the
a
one-sided
Torch ban.
Cloak and Dagger, Insomnia target banning out Fire's Torch. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. As we've seen that in
Saving
that
Cloak
last
and Dagger
round of
again.
Symbiotic Surface, they were able
Season
to
2.5, but
deal
like I
with
said, I
Sparker's
treat it like a fishing.
Psylocke. They
Yeah.
were able to on domination, however, though. So
It's
I would
hard to
imagine
find
Virtus
this
Pro are going
season,
to
though.
want to try to have that one in the back pocket once more.
Luna ban.
One-sided Cloak and Dagger has done so much work.
That
for them.
and
Here's that
in a lot of
protection
places,
on the Magneto.
summification
This
is
draft,
currently
these
on,
draft
so
they have yet
a
to
lot of
adjust
children
anything
are currently
from
playing.
game
I don't
here,
like
but
playing with
their
children.
final ban out, is it gonna
Nothing
be
against kids or
anything
anything.
different?
But no.
One-sided Adam is loud.
Have you ever
because
had
it's the
a
advanced
12-year-old
positions
yell in
that
your
if
ears
Virtus
so
Pro
loudly you
want
have to take your
to,
headset
they
off?
can put Spark
I
around
have.
the Adam, so they have options available. If Insomnia are able to deal with the Psylocke,
Ooh,
they'll just
knocked
get to go for the
on
Adam, or potentially they'll play the Adam right from
on
the
Ultron, you
get-go.
say?
Virtus Pro do decide to defend first rather
I
than
thought it was
attack,
just
and
being
the
ironic,
Adam
but
composition
apparently
is
we
an
have
absolute
Demon on
barn burner
the
when
cat.
it comes to stall potential off of the amount of revives that's
Nope.
available.
It also allows you to just get damage boosts onto potentially a Punisher if that's the route you want to go. Set up a culling turret on that first corner and make it
Where are we seeing
incredibly
this again?
difficult to break out of spawn without having to commit to something.
Well,
a little
because
bit
they went to the
scary,
wrong screen.
a little bit scared, but weirder, like that Penny Parker rocket hold that we did see earlier on in the tournament, but has fallen off as time's gone on.
I wonder if we could go for it. We saw that Saipo was on the rocket there. And I mean, sometimes, well, in past metas, we would say the rocket is purely for either giving infinite ammo to a Punisher or a Bucky. That team up has since been removed. Or
Yep.
you would use it to give one of your duelists super jump with the cookie packs coming on through. But there has been a meta that has been established fully around Midtown that you can see Insomnia are actually anticipating, given the fact that they run off originally on the Moon Knight Squirrel Girl with the match for the dash boost. They see that Virtus Pro aren't going for the close hold, so it is back to the respawn that we go to swap off onto our default composition. It's going to be Nocta coming out on that Ultron and Demon once more in the Punisher's pilot form.
Whereas once again, we are going to be seeing
With the drone on Punisher. So far, they don't necessarily have to switch it because nobody's really at low health, so you just want to keep it on your main damage dealer, right? That and you're playing close enough to get it at you don't necessarily have to switch it because you're going to get your ult charge anyways.
That Psionic force to pull people into a single spot is going to make it a little bit harder for the Captain America to operate as freely as they might otherwise like.
True, but they are stalling out the payload's process. Insomnia are getting it over the distance slowly but surely, but Phi has already, off of how stacked Insomnia's players are, been able to build nearly 80% this first Galactic Legend. Nocta gets sedated by Saipe, so the Ultron isn't able to bail them out.
Already has his
With
ult?
the rage of Ultron targeting the Star-Lord before the Galactic Legend can come through, which is absolutely
You really do get it
Phi
quickly,
should
so
be
long
able
as
to
either A,
self-revive
your
and have
teammates are
Galactic
playing
Legend
close
come
together, or
against the Meteor M, and the sleep onto the Magneto stops him from utilizing the ultimate at the start of it.
Shops.
But Insomnia with the copy God of Mischief coming on through from Relaxing Nights are able to stabilize the ultimate.
Yep.
They're able to hold the line, but once again, Virtus Pro, they slow it down here. This has been their strategy. They're not committing to these big hold fights. They're just giving up inches as opposed to meters to give themselves any extra time to try and delay as Demon will drop.
Oh, pain.
Media M and actually got finished off by the Terror Cave.
Oof.
Yeah,
Nice.
Meteor slam dunks can't
Ooh, painful.
Forever knows exactly
Hajime
where
masu
they're
yo.
going to be and times it just as they come out of the iPrime animation. And that should be this fight on a
Painful.
completed, however.
Good ult,
Virtus Pro
but,
do have a
no,
strange
it,
teleport where
get
you
knocked
can
on.
play if they want to opt for it. And Nevix too on this Captain America is currently getting body blocked by the
I just know that Forever was literally waiting for that because I did the exact same thing. If I see an Adam on the enemy team and I have my ult, I am waiting for that Adam to ult, and I will go up in the air and use straight at it. Screw you, Adam.
Absolutely nothing. Great invasion. And those barriers by the side of Virtus Pro, but Finzi is targeted down by Demon, realizing how mobile Virtus Pro are. They're looking for pickups to try and burst them down. Cypher with that soul rejuvenation to set up.
Okay.
Knights will go in for the clone on that invisible boundary.
Galactic Legends built up the fact that he doesn't have the health bar to give the confidence to use it until now. He gets stabilized by his backline, but that allowed Insomnia to stabilize their positions in anticipation of it. He's only finding Vanguards right now. He can't commit into the backline.
Very, very hard.
Drigger gives him the in with the eternal.
Get joined out of your own ult.
By the Wolverine goes down early. Bond divorced.
Fincy's returns to that thing to try and lock down Demon with the rage of Ultron, trying to get onto Cypher in the backline to prevent that extra healing. Sentinel will take out Fincy. It's Karmic Revival, one-sided Adam.
Good ult this time.
Back once again, and we will see Virtus Pro
unable to get out.
Everything they can. The real invisible boundary.
Demon got pushed out.
Will be set up to try and keep this.
Oh, God, Mantis.
Coming in. Cypher is taken out, but in the meantime, Nevix is deep in the backline.
Freedom Charge versus the stability of regeneration domain.
I know what he was going for. He was trying to get both strategists. Unfortunately, he couldn't. Do healer ults.
Cypher's got the soul resurgence. We've got the meteor.
There goes the healer. Again.
The wombo combo from the two Vanguards. It's an overtime play. It's all Virtus Pro have left. A soul bond comes on through a desperate attempt to get by. The damage to both the Galactic Legend before Insomnia bought anything.
Yeah, no, he's not gonna be able to get anything. He's not gonna. Nope, get joined off. Go away.
He has no choice but to throw himself directly onto the payload to contest it. Demon is
literally said shoe. Oh no, poor Adam.
Back to spawn, not going to let the cocoon keep going. And yet another overtime point grabbed by Insomnia as they make their way in. Fi has been an absolute menace of this man from Missouri, but they have yet to be able to
ult economy is relatively similar right now. I think.
Resilient. Keep pushing it, and they keep swapping Demon every time.
I think Insomnia might actually be slightly ahead.
Back to the Captain America.
I said.
Wolverine appears, and they're just, and every time they need to hold a point, the Wolverine comes back to force people off the point.
Yeah, that's very easy to do.
So quick with their versatility as Drigger is going in for another, basically one.
Like if you have an ult that is basically just AoE damage, and just throw it on his res, especially because a lot of Adam players are just dumb in placing it. It's why Adam is one of the first strategists that I did a video on.
Essentially of payload objective pressure, and now they've been
learn to play the character.
Only a minute and a half, and off of
currently a lot of Ultron players are frustrating.
To the Captain America. Insomnia have one good fight left, and they know that they're not going to get cleanly out of a choke, so a portal play it is. Rage of Ultron comes on through from Noctur at the same time as Lurkin drops the invis boundary to make sure.
Mainly because a lot of Ultron players currently are literally just DPS players, so duelists that do not know how to play him. They've never played a strategist in their life. They might have played since Season 0 and only.
From Center, finds the strategist, but they are healing. They've got all the sustainment. They burn the strategist ultimate outside of the fight. Meteor going to be coming in from Forever if they can land it. From Fincy, sorry. Forever on the other side is looking for theirs. They will find Cypher, trading the 1 for 0. Wolverine taking on to Fincy. Cypher returns back to the cocoon from the Adam Warlock.
Demon is literally being The menace.
Pushing on in, trying to get onto Fly with the feral leap, but there are at least 2 mobile. Demons drops low, leaping into the regeneration domain to buy a couple extra seconds.
Fi's got Galactic Legend. Dridro gives the aggressive play with the Eternal Bond, and Insomnia are running out of space. 10 seconds left. They don't have the means of dealing with it. One falls. If they run from the Galactic Legend, they run.
They're not able to get back on. So this is going to be the end of the round, I think, for Insomnia. Yeah.
No one is going to be able to get into.
This is winnable for Virtus Pro. So they could get a second point here if Insomnia is unable to hold them.
Technically over halfway. 1.100 meters. Almost all the way to that backline, all the way to that point B. They were able to hold Virtus Pro.
So yeah, like that, if there's like 12 seconds on the clock and you have your ult, use it.
Pressure the backline.
Use it to get rid of the enemy. Do it. There's no reason for you to wait at 12 seconds if people just died at like 14 seconds. No one is able to get back on point unless they have Strange, and in this case, Insomnia already burned the Strange portal.
It's gonna be rough.
But they couldn't have gone back in.
They don't have the Luna, so they can't damage amp the Horn of Proteus, but they might well go for the Namor because they're anticipating Navix on this Captain America just being the cat amongst the pigeons, or I guess the cap amongst the enemy team's backline. And you need something that's going to be able to stop the Cap America from just getting so much space for Fire and Sparker to do whatever they want to deal with.
This is how they adjusted in their latter half of
even pros like to jump in the elevator.
They brought out that Namor to try and deal with people diving onto the backline. In their case, it was the Torch playing a little bit further back, and the
I love how obvious it is that Fi is literally the main damage dealer. And on Insomnia, everyone is basically this.
Virtus Pro, once again, expecting a spawn hold, do start off on the Black Widow.
Ooh, but Saipe's the one that goes down instead. Fi doesn't find the opening shot, but the Gamma Squid absolutely finds the target that it's looking for. Over to the actual Star-Lord we go. The Duelist making it out of the spawn doors. As Nocta already 35% to that first Horn of Proteus is getting full pocketed by the team right now. Virtus Pro know that they've got.
If you're not wearing headphones and you didn't catch it, there is a Captain America running up on them. He died. But you can hear him. If you don't have a headset and you play this game without a headset, what are you doing? If you're only playing casual, fine. But if you actually play comp and you're still stuck in bronze, get a headset. Get a headset. If you don't have a headset, you're not going to be able to hear anything. You're just going to get caught off guard every single time.
A couple of these Gamma fastballs. And here is the play from Virtus Pro, wrapping around from behind to try.
Especially since some people are stupid enough to actually run past your spawn so you can hear them.
Over to the opposite building.
A huge exile onto Navix.
Get a headset, you heathen!
From Virtus Pro's swing up into that high ground, and Insomnia have been winning the poke fight. They've already got the ultimates. Demon gets Earthbound, tries to turn around and dispatch the thing in his back line, but Fi gets taken down too by the pressure that this Namor was able to output. Eternal Bomb comes out from Dridro. Forever's looking for the angle, doesn't find the Cloak and Dagger, but finds the Star-Lord who'd already self-revived. The Terror Cape and the Earthbound.
Do you play this on console?
Try and reposition back to his team, but the heal is good from Insomnia. And
Jeez, blind Demon.
A monster in the back line that Virtus Pro have to turn around and deal with.
Doing a lot of damage on them, but Nocta and Forever have both been taken down as finally Virtus
Less
Pro
impressive, but hey.
To capitalize, creeping on forward, heading towards that point A, meaning it would become a distance game. Demon is chased all the way back, and Fi does not want to give it up, but will not dive into the building. Not going to get themselves caught out of position. Then comes the portal. Demon making their way back into
a little bit of lag there.
Rush in to this portal to rejoin. There's the extra invisible boundary to try and buy as much time as possible. Saipe keeping their team topped up with that Soul Rejuvenation as Galactic Legend comes on out. Snipes lurking and is doing huge work on this backline.
Yeah, the Invis boundary had to be used from Insomnia to cushion the fall out of the teleport, which means that Fi just had to lie in wait.
I love the Demon's body was just there.
Looking for off the back of that one. That will be A. And it is a huge difference in time bank in comparison to what Insomnia had at their disposal as we headed into that part of the map. Virtus Pro already moving on up, taking the high ground. Demon going to be over towards that Punisher, trying to just find a pick, buy time for his team to stabilize. Nocta even going over to the Heller, a hit scan to be able to match Wits and Dual Sparker and Fi. But Nevix and Fi are lying in wait around the corner, and it means that Sentinel on this Strange is going to be taking damage directly to the face.
Doing as much damage as they can, gets pulled in by that Soul Siphon. But Nevix, Fincy, fine, taken out. They run into the Punisher. Who with the shotgun is holding their yard, trying to take them down. Sparker, they're trying to stagger them to buy extra time. 3 minutes remaining. Every second matters here. And Insomnia, look at how long they're going to leave this. That is so big for them.
Yeah. It's not a matter of get off my lawn, it's stay on it for as long as we possibly can, because we need to buy the time back after losing that fast. Sparker actually is committing the cocoon instead of revisiting the spawn room. They've got Karmic Revival, they've also got Eternal Bond. They want to go now as Noctis slows the push down. Goddess of Death denies, and the team's been split. One made it all the way to the high ground, and the rest still stuck behind. They can't go until Goddess of Death has burnt through. But that's allowed Insomnia to stabilize a position for Demon with that final judgment to be the finger threat. Virtus.pro have to worry about Fincy with the Bulwark, survives the Force Physics as Dridro, an aggressive Eternal Bond, denies the off-angle space for Insomnia's duelists.
Lovely block onto the media M. Ayamoto is going to lock down Nevix as they move in with the invisible boundary. Final judgment from Demon.
Okay, matters to stay alive with some help from the Magneto.
And it's gonna once again be Insomnia.
Magneto players, do that more.
Fights, but they burn even more resources, burning that God of Mischief to steal that Eternal Bond once again. All they have left is Meteor M. 46% on Goddess of Death, 35 on Aya Wakamoto, 21 on Invisible Boundary. Compare that to Virtus.
I wonder if they're actually going to be able to hold it for the full 140 though.
Galactic Legend, all at the ready, and they only need to push another 6 meters.
Yeah, Nevix is over to the Captain America to provide threat on that objective and also into that backline. Fire's already been able to dispatch the Punisher. Can now look for the backline itself. Galactic Legend comes on through, gets absorbed by Meteor M. The Magneto also getting the Guardian Shield to be able to fall back onto. Regen Domain invested from Insomnia to trying to hold the line, keep a body on the cop to buy the time to come through for the contest.
Demon tried.
Not enough. Virtus.pro knew. They just had to slowly inch that payload closer and closer.
They might have been able to hold it for longer if they got a little bit further into the map, but nah, it was too close.
Further down until eventually they hit rock bottom, and the revive composition could come on through, swing the first stage of a fight. If it goes south, it's okay. You've got the reses. You can out-sustain your opponent.
An incredible sustain. Like you said, the one-sided Adam for those out sustains just keep the bodies up. They tried to adjust and they were winning fights, but you can only win so many fights if your opponent is infinite. Consistently coming back, consistently piling on the pressure. 20 KOs for the side at 5, 26 for Nocta, who really put on a huge show for their team to try and turn this round. What we did see is the difference between how many of these Aya Wakamotos did land. While the Media M's were on point, Sentinel, it's not even something they're doing, it's just how well Virtus.pro are able to position to make sure that they're not going to be set up every single time.
Yeah, and I mean, even if Aya Wakamoto does land, Virtus.pro have the resources that they've always put to the side in anticipation of that ultimate coming on through. Sparker with the Soul Bond Saipe as well, making sure that we've got the most amount of seeds to set up for the heals, and then Dridro, the Veil of Light Forces coming on through from this Cloak and Dagger for that 15% kill boost that just allows them to survive past the break point.
So there's two things you can do when the Magneto ults, right? You either have your Punisher ult as well and try and get rid of the Magneto ult, or have Star-Lord ult and everyone else shoot with the ult into Magneto's ult and try and destroy that way. That, or you could wait it out and try and destroy the Magneto, but that's a little bit difficult to do. Because if Magneto gets destroyed before his ult can actually hit anything, the ult goes away. Regardless of if he shot it off or not.
Entirely and take us to another map.
We've still got some good convergences and convoys like that, although we did just see the convoy getting dropped here. So potentially if convergence is an option, we have Dracula's Castle at the ready. But we'll have to find out as we're going to be heading to a quick break. And when we return, we will see if Insomnia can create the resurgence versus Virtus.pro, or if Virtus.pro will punch their ticket to the group finals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So yeah, if Virtus.pro wins this, they win the best of 5. if Insomnia wins, then we are going to go to the last map, and then we're going to see if it's going to be either Virtus Pro or Insomnia.
Nowhere to hide. Woo! I never miss.
But we shall see. We shall see. I love the music from this game. It's amazing.
Virtus Pro now one map away from securing their spot in that group finals and getting that higher seed. But Insomnia have been taking them to the limit over and over again. But they just can't seem to tip it over the edge sometimes. As this case, Virtus Pro were able to lock them down.
Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like Insomnia are a very, very strong team. Like, a lot of people have slept on them, but they have significant potential. And we're getting to see, like, there are fights where they are just overwhelming Virtus Pro, but then Virtus Pro have the read. They understand, like, okay, this is going to be your side advantage at the beginning of the fight, but as long as you don't manage to find any picks on our side, we can come through and win the second stage. And that's sort of how you play triple res, which, I mean, makes sense. They were on a triple res composition. Now that you're Insomnia, when we move into the picks and bans, even when you move into the map type, do you take us somewhere where you want to go for that triple res mirror, or do you just try and ban out the Sparker Atom yet again? But one thing that we're unfortunately not getting to see are some heroes that were in play for Season 1 and have since disappeared in Season 2, but you can still play them and you can still find a lot of value with them, with our wonderful cosmetics to drip before viability is my motto of choice. And
Drip before viability.
Absolutely dripped out. Iron Fist,
Depends on the character, right?
Are in the game score.
There's a limit to how much I am willing to go drip before viability.
The sun haunts you with the Phoenix doing huge
Because I do
damage
like
from
having
that
drip
midnight,
for
making
viability, right?
Everything on fire. It looks
If
absolutely
a character is
gorgeous. And of
viable for
course,
me, I am
the
more likely to
binary
go
fist,
for the
the
drip
binary
than I am
magneto
to going for drip for characters that are not viable for me, which is why I am not going to buy skins for, say, Groot or what's her face, Magic.
At the start of season 2, but season 2.5, it fell out a little bit. But we've been seeing
Wolverine. I'm also not going to buy skins for Spider-Man.
In fact, it's one of the more sustaining
because I will never play them.
The melee duelists,
right?
When everything else is already
maybe every once in a blue moon, but
at least try to hold a point in overtime.
Yeah, sustain definitely feels like a good segue to talk about what we think is going to be what Insomnia decide to do against Virtus.pro. Because Virtus.pro won Midtown. Insomnia now get the opportunity to take us to any map type. The BO5s, the rules, the maps coming on through mean that if we go into map number 4, it gets reset entirely. The order is fully now reset to take us either to a convergence
Hall of Dahlia
or a domination, as Insomnia decide to swerve convoy, swerve domination, and take us to convergence. Hall of Dahlia is where they believe they're going to be able to take a second map off of Virtus.pro and continue to be able to match wits up into that grand final.
And so far the drafts remain pretty much the same, starting with these EMEA bans. Insomnia now with their chance to protect. They've been putting a lot of protection onto this Loki, and this game will be no different. This is going to be the Virtus.pro will get a protection onto the Magneto, but the question is, will they let it slip through as far as they have been so far, giving it to Insomnia every time?
Yeah, they have been liking to ban the Luna second, and it is again going to come on through. As both of these teams do like having options left open to them, so that one plan works for a little bit and then the other team adapts, and then they have to go and readjust. Has been very much the storyline of the series thus far.
Mag protects.
Virtus.pro will be able to secure a Magneto for their side. Insomnia are going to have to be choosing what they want to ban out, but Magneto is going to be kept out of their ban reach.
Virtus.pro with the, so far, one-sided Magneto. We'll see if that does continue, as once again they've let it through every time
Loki
so
ban.
far. Insomnia, though, not going to let the Loki through, continue to keep that one-sided. But so far, they have given over that Cloak and Dagger almost every single time, and it looks like that might continue as they look at that Torch again instead of the Cloak and Dagger. There's just so little time to fit everything in when you know that these are such big priorities.
Well, you said it yourself, right? Relaxing Knights has had God of Mischief up so many times, they might as well be playing Cloak and Dagger. However, that Terror Cape, that 12-second
Cloak and Dagger
cycle of it, has been one major factor in bailing out Virtus.pro in these long overdrawn fights between the two, where having that 28% increased vulnerability on whoever gets hit by it
Luna
has brought them the ability to absolutely burn a player of Insomnia if the ultimate's on around 2 sustain.
And Magneto save.
Luna is going to be banned on out for both sides. Magneto is going to be saved from Insomnia. And Virtus.pro now have to think about what they want to try to remove. Sparker, by the way, Psylocke has also been able to get through, which has been happening multiple times. And once more, Virtus.pro remove the Adam Warlock from rotation. So they're going to be the ones with Karmic Revival and no one else.
Moxie, I'm getting deja vu. One Adam Warlock coming in once again. These drafts are identical to the last time with Insomnia. They really do still believe in this. Virtus.pro, they think they may have found the secret source. Removing the Golden God, taking away Adam that we've seen Insomnia get so many revives with, and then picking it for themselves. They love this Star-Lord composition with that damage boost, with those revives. It is so hard to get rid of.
Yeah, Insomnia, though, might be adding a Storm to the mix. Lightning might be slightly on the horizon, alongside a 12% allied damage boost when the Goddess boost comes on through.
Don't forget those tailwinds. They're devastating.
Match against Sparker, who, like you said, is going to be getting a lot of resources alongside.
Also, I've seen a lot of Storm players do this for some reason. Immediately when they spawn in, they go into damage boost. Don't do that. Stop it. It's your team to go fast first, then you boost the damage.
A grand finalist crowned.
Pass the point
they have to make their way
and hold point with damage boost.
Statue. Defenses will have to be set up by Virtus Pro at this early stage, and they are already, as usual, going to be locking onto that high ground, whereas Insomnia looks like they are going to try and open up with a turret portal to siege on in with a Guardian Barrier. They're going to try and weaken the defenses first using that Storm damage boost.
Yeah, Nevix actually scouted out that it was a portal play though, so everyone from Virtus Pro just takes one step backwards, and portal gets nothing. However, taking a step backwards frees up the space. Insomnia say if you're not using it, we absolutely will, and they move in. They're going to be pretty hard though to rewrite as Virtus Pro with the soul bomb.
Can't get anything.
Sends Fi in with that
Fi
blast
is
barrage.
down.
Everyone gets tethered up by Nevix. They take Fi down, but he'll be back in a matter of moments with the cocoon coming on through, and Insomnia now being boxed into a very
yeah, that shotgun's deadly.
space.
Even if
Not a lot of
Demon did not
angles to hide
necessarily
away.
get the actual
Demon
kill,
is
that
still
shotgun is
finding
nasty.
these picks on the Punisher.
Absolutely cleaning up there. They now have a damage boost with the help of that Storm. This is a composition we have seen before.
Sparker
as
coming
well,
in behind.
but it does work when you're not going to be looking at this Mantis or at this Cloak and Dagger.
Bye,
but you
Sparker.
might as well add some extra DPS with the Storm, who's also able to just clean up as
Probably
well.
looking to get
You have
up.
now opened up your options for that Omega Hurricane. Even with an interesting roll back. I don't know what that is.
He was trying high ground. He was trying to get high ground, but he clipped his body ever so slightly into the wall. There we go. It's fine. We've got 2 zip lines. Doesn't matter. Didn't happen. We didn't see it on broadcast. What we are going to be seeing is the final judgment.
Oh, Fi.
Unfortunate. Demon off of this god angle right now, and he's just
Maybe
getting the full
putting up
pocket.
turret up there,
Guardian
not
shield
entirely sure. He does have good
trying to
line of
put
sight,
that
so
too,
he
making
might
sure
not.
Nothing
But
is going to be able to pressure this Punisher off before Insomnia decide to start the fight.
A Loki firing squad, a Doctor Strange, a Guardian Barrier. This is a painful area. They're going to try and force a mispositioning here using this Omega Hurricane. Not going to find anything, so just has to use it for a reposition. That is unfortunate, thanks to that Eternal Bomb being burned so early. But here comes the Media M not finding the pickup, allowing Demon full freedom to counter push in. Another steal onto that Eternal Bond has set up Insomnia for a push on in towards point number 2. But the Galactic Legend and that Soul Rejuvenation and that Karmic Revival mean Virtus Pro are not giving up without a fight.
Huge sweep comes out from Saipe onto Forever to make sure that the Eye of Agamotto does not find the vulnerable targets as they come through from that Karmic Revival state. Virtus Pro strike them back. They
probably would have had him if I didn't get healed, but he did.
Insomnia
I got healed.
denied, deprived of a fast beam momentum snowball. Going to have to now try and find a way of getting Demon once more into a much harder position to be able to
Alright, so
take
there's
control
no
from
ults on
already
either side.
the state of the high ground.
Similar
Not
ult
sure
charges as well all around, so we'll see how this goes.
Have to be vigilant of.
Verticality added thanks to the map. They can now try and get up onto that high ground themselves without having to use that zipline, which does still remain in place. But now anyone can follow up if needed. Forever going to be pushing up to the inner high ground of the center tower to make some space to use that Seraphim Barrier, the Doctor Strange shield, to create openings to give the protection that allows Storm to creep on up with the lightning strikes.
Omega Hurricane's already been built on the side of Nocta. Insomnia don't want to give up the space that they've been able to buy. Out it comes, right onto Virtus Pro's back line. It's early in the fight. The strategists are stacked. They're healing each other through all of that damage. And Nocta doesn't get caught by their team. They go down to Sparker. Eternal Bond for Eternal Bond. One actual Cloak and Dagger into the Loki copy. Both of these are going to expire at the same time. And that means that Demon just has to survive. The final judgment for this next fight should be the answer that Insomnia are looking for. And
I thought Loki's still alive.
That the Punisher is holding the ultimate. They've got to stagger out these picks for as long as they possibly can, so that when the portal comes on through from Forever, it's
A
going
nice
to be lacking
view
the Loki
right
behind
there.
it.
2 minutes and 17 seconds remaining. We see Insomnia. They choose to go with the slow roll. Wait for the Loki to appear. They burn Regeneration Domain, but it will be back very shortly as they wrap in from behind. High ground taken by Nevix to look for anyone as they come through that portal to go for a bit of a punish. You'll see Starlord hovering on the periphery, waiting for any ambushes. They make their way into the invisible boundary with the final judgment. Meteor End, can they time it with the block?
Nope.
It is just going to get popped.
Sparker, though,
Held it for
the
too
second
long.
that they saw that portal come through, already isolated himself from the fight. I don't think they even need the Karmic Revival, though. Nevix's Feast of the Abyss comes through after Invis boundary has expired, and Virtus Pro still have all of the damage when Insomnia run out of resources. This B is proving to be so much harder to be able to capture than A.
They can't get back onto their high ground position. They're getting zoned away. Virtus Pro have completely locked themselves down to make sure that Insomnia cannot break this line. As such, we do see a swap. Sentinel will be bringing out the thing to try and just lock down Fire and Nevix, prevent the backline dive, and of course give that extra protection to Storm or Demon with that embattled leap and the Stone Aegis for the extra protection.
Insomnia think they found the answer against the dive, but here's the thing. Forever comes through with the Meteor M almost getting built up to match Fi's charge, but it's Nocta that they're looking at right now. Omega Hurricane needs to force Virtus Pro's position. Eternal Bond is out on the field for Drigger. Relaxing Knight's copying it, but the Magneto gets pressured out. Fi understood who would be targeting him potentially, and Galactic Legend comes through clean off of the back of Terror Cape, amplifying the damage too. Insomnia denied another fight, but it only comes at the cost of one singular ultimate. God of Mischief is taken out of rotation.
Tried to get back,
and
was not
Ferreira's
able to do it.
Magneto onto the Captain America because Insomnia have been not got that strange portal. They need the Captain America to tap to activate overtime, and that's exactly what Virtus Pro are more than happy to play. The time bank is firmly in their favor as they've still got Karmic Revival in play.
Cap will touch the point. This will give them the overtime as everyone else makes their way into touch. Every person who goes down now, you'll see them swap onto fast rollout characters to give them the turnaround. Nocta is going to be playing the game of chicken, coming in with that Omega Hurricane and the final judgment. They're just going to go for overwhelming presence, and it's working, but Sparker has hidden in the corner. Karmic Revival as they wait out the remainder of the final judgment. Immediately, Demon up to the high ground, coming turret to try and buy every extra second as that car makes its way forward. Fincy finishing off Nocta as they move on in. The Feast from the Abyss forcing them off the point, taking out the backline. Relaxing Knight falls while Demon is getting flagged by Fi. Nevix comes in for the pickup. Nocta swapping onto the Strange to hope that the portal is off cooldown. Senti moving their way in on the thing. Portal's on the way. They're buying as much time as they can, but it's not gonna be
not enough time. Yeah, the
104.
Cat was at low health, so unless you're an absolute god.
Say it again.
Everyone hates attacking into a res composition because every single time you get a little bit of space, they just come right back, and there's nothing that you can do about it a lot of the time, unless you have things like the Supernova from the Torch to be able to keep a track of where that Karmic Revival spot could be coming from. But no, Insomnia, unfortunately, just having to put the Storm into play so that they have the damage boost to potentially match up against the break points that Virtus Pro have with the Mantis and the...
If they can hold out on point, then it's still winnable, but at this point they
bombs from the spawn to try and set up. If they find this, they're going full Spider Team. I don't know how much of this is going to make it out, but look out for that feed to see if anyone from Insomnia gets caught by this.
Surely no.
Surely
it's going to take a little bit of time for them to walk through the doors on Garage, but I would assume, given the composition that everyone on the side of them are on, no one's going to be playing to Garage. We're all going to be posted up on the high ground to make sure that our dealers has as much space as possible, especially because Nocta on this Hela, it's go broke or go home. This Hela needs to find these picks. At least with things like that Soul Drainer, you're going to be able to grab someone and force their position. But you do have to worry about being jumped on by a Strange portal. So we can already see that Insomnia are playing everyone very much close to home.
Fi has started with a Spider-Man. They might be looking to see if they can get a quick isolation onto someone. Sentinel, once again, on the thing to try and punish, and that will force Fi back onto the Star-Lord. But to be fair, it's been working extremely well for them. As Demon forced down to the low ground. They're going to try and push on in. Virtus Pro taking a lot
Vinci
of damage
already
up
out.
there, but they, of course, have the building to retreat into.
What a huge soul drainer from Nocta, connected onto 4 players. However, Dredro is rocketing towards this first Eternal Bond, and there's no one-shot potential on the side of Insomnia. They're going to be able to use it to forge aggressively off of the high ground right into Insomnia's entire forces, and that's going to include point possession as well. Terra Cape comes on through. Nocta is forced back. They have to try and stabilize. Finzy's even on the Captain America just to have the disruption factor against Insomnia, but Relaxing Knights has also been able to keep a pace with the ultimate charge. Out comes the God of Mischief. Their own Eternal Bond has now been forged, and Saipe has to answer back with the Soul Resurgence. The heal on its own, not enough to win the fight, but the Terra Cape off of Dredro will absolutely do. And Demon is
unfortunate.
also investing the Final Judgment, an ultimate trade that Virtus.pro are more than happy to make.
Virtus.pro burned everything and Insomnia backed away. They were able to survive it all. Then Insomnia pushed back Virtus.pro. They traded 1-for-1 and then backed up after burning this big cooldown. And that is where they are struggling, burning this huge cooldown while Virtus.pro are just about to hit that Galactic Legend. Nocta will just be sniped out the sky if they try to move in here. Meteor M to absorb at least.
Oh, nice.
And they take down Vi. That is huge for Insomnia.
Nice. That is big.
Karmic Revival will have to be burned.
Like Saipa can come back because he has a Karmic Revival, right?
But already the rest of their team is cleaned out, so they have to regroup.
Oh, yeah, no. That is not going. That's not going to fly.
Directly over Demon's Culling Torrent, and Virtus.pro have no ground to stand on. Dredro building up that Eternal Bond far faster than Relaxing Knights, as the Loki was managing to use the AoE primary heal, but Dredro too was getting to heal so many of those players stacked on up, but they get shut down. Insomnia managed to have the damage to break the Cloak and Dagger's base health form before Dredro gets one of those dashes to start healing them for a second, and that's going to be Insomnia holding on. Nocta doesn't have the Goddess of Death, but Demon is going to have the Final Judgment, and Dredro burned the Eternal Bond. Soul Resurgence might have to be stacked with the Freedom Charge just to survive. As Finzy pops the Freedom Charge early, the damage comes on through alongside the Venom, but the Force from Merkin forces them backward, and the Final Judgment is here.
They've gone for the clone once again. Relaxing Knights onto the Cloak and Dagger. Goes for the Dark Force teleport to get up to the high ground to see if they can catch anyone out of position. And it's a lot more cooldowns going to be burned by Insomnia once again. But the fact is, they've held this at 1/3. They burn every cooldown almost every time, but they still have clobbering time. They almost have Media M again, and they are keeping Virtus.pro back.
Navix, Piece of the Abyss.
I love how Fi's is to the side over there.
So too is Fi, all the way on this off angle. Slowly but surely building up that next Galactic Legend. Saipe is starting to go a little bit low, but they have to worry about the Star-Lord. That Blaster Barrage has already been able to build up Galactic Legend far faster than Meteor M. And Virtus.pro can double down in this fight before Insomnia have the answers. And Viz Boundary gets used on the point itself for Insomnia to buy themselves the space to build those counters up. And the Galactic Legend comes on through. The Punisher position static, but forever forces 3 players from Virtus.pro back to respawn. Meteor M might not take the planet out, but it takes Virtus.pro's chances out.
The Karmic Revival has revived the chances as they make their way back in, pushing onto the point, and Dredro with the Terra Cape. It is Insomnia being
well, they have 2 minutes 30, right? So if Insomnia can hold out,
remaining, and the Statue of Past is activated.
They could win, but there's not a whole lot of space.
One pick against the Punisher, who had Final Judgment, the thing that Insomnia needed to use to stop Virtus.pro from moving forward, aggressively taking the spaces, getting Fi and Nevix already into an angle where they don't have to burn cooldowns to get the space. They can start in it right from the get-go. This dive is going to be dangerous. Demon Stole, though, has been able to regroup back around the corner. Virtus.pro give the respect, but Sentinel on the thing charges directly into Virtus.pro to stop them from disengaging. Saipe goes down. Dredro tries to find the trade with the Eternal Bond and gets 1, gets 2, gets 3.
Welcome back, Hugo.
Dredro is showing exactly. They're not done. They're zoning. They're spawn camping them with that extra terror cape. They're showing exactly why this Cloak and Dagger has become the key character of this stage as the car moves on. Sentinel will make their way back in Earthbound with the Galactic Legend. Not yet available, but 94% of the way through. BDM getting blocked out by the Iron Bull, but no one's on the point.
Yeah.
It's GG. Virtus Pro.
Unfortunate for Insomnia. They had a good chance to win, but they C9'd.
We go from what is going to be a full hold of A into Karmic Revival, and then from there it's just fully in Virtus Pro's hands. I mean, I say that, it's fully in Dredro's hands. That is one of the most aggressive Eternal Bonds that I have ever seen, but the space that it brought the payload to just keep trucking along, and in the
now that it's warm, I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes.
With a Cloak and Dagger in the backline, who, by the way, almost did as much damage as Sparker on the Adam Warlock.
Just cleaning up the damage boosts, the assists, and then flanking into the backline. They only really got countered once by Demon on that Punisher. Every other time, it was just trying to match it with the Loki, which, let's be honest, Relaxing Knights did an insane job, but you can't beat the original.
I mean, yeah, Dredro every 12 seconds, Terror Cape. And every single time, too, they coordinated perfectly. When we were watching Fi's POV to go into the blaster bar, he was getting the ball.
Ooh, new car, you say?
Was directed at the target of focus that the Star-Lord was staring down. They had some amazing combinations where they would utilize the fact that Demon was so static in their movements, and they would just Terror Cape the Punisher and force Insomnia to have to over-invest resources to keep Demon standing. And I mean, this Karmic Revival, too, coming on out. Nevix going over to the Venom as well to make sure that Demon is denied the angle that can potentially be used in overtime to buy the space back for everyone to trade some through out of their spawn. Like, Virtus Pro just had such a good read of the situation. There was a little bit of a struggle on A, but teams struggle on A if you don't manage to find the point off of the first fight. The second that they got A, we were off to the races.
This was a game where you've got to say that the strategists were the ones who made the plays. We talked about Dredro. They were constantly in the backline, constantly getting that vulnerability onto enemies and setting up. Cypher was constantly damage boosting. Fire had some perfect soul rejuvenations. And Sparker, this game would straight up be over if they had not landed a couple of those Karmic Revivals. It's as simple as that. Without those revives, then Insomnia would have been able to push on through and would have been able to hold them at some of these setups. Virtus Pro, they move on to the finals of the groups, but Insomnia are going to be worrying a lot of people in those playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, don't sleep on this team. Absolutely do not sleep on this team. They made it so incredibly close. Like you said, there's some clutch plays from everyone on Virtus Pro's side, but there's just as clutch plays from everyone on the side of Insomnia. Like that free K with the Meteor M was insane. If we hadn't been up against a Karmic Revival composition, that would have been a full hold. Like right then and there.
Your toy robot is broken?
They did such a good job as well of being able to keep the Loki over the Cloak and Dagger, where the neutral was definitely weighted in the side of Virtus Pro, and we even got to see there in the replays when Dredro was using that aggressive Eternal Bond all the way into Insomnia's spawn. It's immediately backed up by Fi just barraging in with the blasters, getting the Magneto bulwark so that everyone goes low, and it's Dredro who's the one who's able to come on through with those last hits. And speaking about coming on through, we're gonna be pulling one of those Virtus Pro players on through to the interview room. Hello and welcome, Finzi.
Hello, thank you.
So, to get things started, because this was definitely a close series, did you expect this to be as close as it actually ended up being?
We haven't played them in a long time, so I actually had no clue how good they were. I expected it to be a bit easier. They played really well, but we won in the end, so that's what matters.
So you guys started adjusting your drafting style as the game went on to start picking up that Adam and taking it away from Insomnia. Is that targeted, or are you just like, are you just seeing Adam rise throughout the priority list here?
well, we think Atom comps are really good, but when they get Atom and they get
Garma has a
Loki,
war
it's
coming
kinda
out and
makes
it's
it harder
almost
for
ripped
us,
off.
since they
Aw.
have the Link
Well,
for
maybe you
Atom,
can get
and
it
then they have
fixed
Loki
somewhere,
lamps
who
as well,
knows?
so they have a lot of survivability. So it makes it really rough if they have both. And since they first protect Loki, then we can't have to take out the Atom at the end.
And Dritter had some amazing Eternal Bonds coming on through where the team got to play super aggressively off of the back of those. How do those get coordinated? Is it essentially Dritter just
God,
saying,
that
"I'm
voice,
ulting, everyone
those
follow me"?
adjusted voices do not sound
Yeah.
good
Basically,
when they
we
are
just
slowed
wait at the
down.
implant
It's
before the fight,
horrendous.
and to go with his ult, and then we just all go with it together, and we call one target, and everyone focuses that target, and yeah, that's how we do it.
And you yourself leading the charge quite a few times with, of course, the Magneto, with the Doctor Strange for the quick reinforcements and landing that 6-man Eye of Agamotto that we literally just saw from that doorway hold. Who makes the communications for that? Are they communicating to you?
You can
that
reattach
they're coming
wires,
through
it's not
from it
that
now,
hard.
Or are you just relying on instinct here?
Well, I saw them all rotate the right side, so I know they're gonna go up the ramp to get the high ground, so I just call I'm gonna fly above them and ult, and then I just do a 3, 2, 1, and we all just go at the same time. And since I get everyone, it's really easy to clean it up.
Speaking of ults, but not looking at the Strange, looking at the Magneto, Meteor M is an ultimate that gains a lot of value just from using it and being able to use it as a defensive, but getting a pick off of the back of it, that's something additionally extra, right? How would you try and play a Meteor M to look for a pick? Is that something specific that the team does to make it easier for you to land those?
No, we don't really make like some crazy plays to get the rock kill, but it's mostly waiting for the Atom Link to be used or the Loki lamp, since if they have those things, then you're really not gonna get a kill with it, or a mag bubble. But I usually just use it defensively. But if I know they don't have Loki lamp, then maybe I call just go with mag ult, die with mag ult, and then we just focus on target and I mag ult it as well.
Let's look ahead now. You are in to the finals of your group, which means you have a rematch coming in against Rad. How much have you adjusted your playstyle to prepare for them after that first series, or is it just business as usual for Virtus Pro?
I mean, we definitely changed some things after we lost against them last time, but we also just played really bad last time we played them. So I expect them to do well, but I think it's going to go differently than last time, for sure.
And while we have you here, there's been a lot of discussion and debate about who is the strongest team in the EMEA region. Obviously, Rad being able to pull a win against you goes to show their strengths, but then we also have the likes of Berber Patipim, who was rumored to be the team that everyone thought would be able to go toe-to-toe with you. In your professional opinion, who do you think is stronger out of those two opponents?
We haven't played Berber in like a few weeks now, so I'm not sure how good they are, but they look really good in their matches. So I think it's really even between them being the top 2 team. It's hard to say since we haven't played Berber in a long time.
You may get the chance to play against them in the playoffs that are coming up. You just have one more series to go before we jump into that.
Sometimes things break, right?
But
everything has a lifespan.
Playoffs, and many people have their eyes on Virtus Pro. What do you have to say for your opponents and for those who are watching and rooting for you?
Thank you for all the support to the fans, and we're gonna do our best for the fans, and the enemy team should be aware that we're back on our winning streak and we're not gonna let it stop this time.
Thank you so much for joining us, Binzi. Congratulations on the win. We'll let you get back to the rest of your day.
Thank you.
An intense day of matches. We saw an incredible performance from Zero Tenacity, while we did see All Business pop back up, showing that they have that potential and are prepared for these playoffs. Zero Tenacity did take that 3-0. Then we saw this match where a lot of people, well, me and you were on the money, a lot of people would go in saying, it's Virtus Pro. With Insomnia, they said it themselves. We didn't know
there's always
they were
that
good.
Yeah, I mean, they did, like you said, say it themselves. Insomnia have definitely been one of these teams that have taken a lot of people by surprise. I would say both they and Zero Tenacity have been surprising people with their results. And it's definitely led to some very surprising results when we look at our overall bracket to see how these matches have impacted. As, like you said to Finzi, it's rematch time. Rad versus VP,
and it's
the
Elmo.
team that took Virtus Pro down down, they go head-to-head for the group finals of Group B.
Insomnia will be joining Peps in that bracket in the playoffs, already seeded. So Rad and Virtus Pro will be competing for the higher seed for potentially that easier run, but it means more than that. Rad, they want to prove it wasn't a fluke. They said it themselves. Virtus Pro, they said it's going to go differently. They need to prove it to themselves that they are still the top dog.
Yeah, we're gonna see Rad versus Virtus Pro next time. So it's gonna be a rematch,
tomorrow. And of course,
a revenge match
as well. Another rematch. Zero Tenacity.
And we're gonna see Berber Patapim versus
that upper bracket before finally running to Berber, who's just
Z10 Zero Tenacity.
Zero Tenacity after a 3-0 are back for round 2.
And I mean, they have so many different compositions too. Like, Berber and Zero Tenacity are two teams that you can never really ban them out of everything. So that match has the potential to go the full distance between the two, as it just becomes a back and forth of each of them taking the other to their comfort picks and their comfort ban sides coming on through. I cannot wait to get to see the likes of Tanuki go head-to-head with Knudsen.
I cannot wait as well. We've got so many incredible matchups coming in. With, again, the playoffs are next week. Tomorrow, we find out those final seedings and a preview of what could be some EMEA representation and some incredible playoffs matches. Berber Patapim versus Zero Tenacity, Rad versus Virtus Pro. Any of these four teams, looking at how they've played, we could easily say, yes, they will be the winners. They will represent EMEA at the mid-season. But the fact is, there's only so many spots and they all have to fight for it, and all of them are hungry.
Yeah, I mean, EMEA has been definitely the closest that it's been since the beginning of Marvel Rivals Esports. Like you said, anyone could walk away with that win tomorrow. And it's really going to come down to which of these teams is better prepared, which of them have gone and looked at how the other teams have played, found out the playstyle and adjusted coming into tomorrow with a game plan to force the other side out of their comfort zone.
But those are tomorrow's games. Tonight, you still have the Americas. Tomorrow morning, you have Oceania, and you have Asia, and you have China, if anyone's doing the co-streaming of it. There is so much Marvel Rivals Esports.
I did not know it's your phone, but I think you already told me that you're only 7.
So make sure you tune in tomorrow to find out what those seedings will be. But for us, that's going to be it for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, from Moxie and I, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out the Binary Iron Fist and the Phoenix Moon Knight skins, and make sure you check out those drops. Keep watching Americas if you haven't got them yet. From us, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Alrighty, that is also going to be it for me. Why? Because I still have to go make a video for Monday. I haven't been able to do that because of the patch notes that were there, so I need to adjust some things to that before I can actually work on it. Tomorrow we're going to see Z10 versus Berber Patapim and Rad versus Virtus Pro. For now, I'm gonna say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you are not already following or subscribed, depending on the way you're watching, go do that right now, and maybe give the stream a like if you are scared of vans. I don't know why you're scared of shoes, but that's up to you. But yeah, maybe give the stream a like if you enjoyed. I'll be doing the same thing as I did today, which is commenting and making notes for you guys to understand how certain things work and why they are being done. For now, I'm gonna see you guys next time. Ciao.
Rolling up Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. think she's feeling me. Turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease. Bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me. Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase. Got some egos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. She got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase. Got some egos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so